Deadly mobile game. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276 Internet Celebrity. Occasionally, some King Time Mountain spectators would shout that the magical cannon fodder was showing off his power and that he would perform 5 consecutive peerless in this match. They would be ridiculed by the people around them. Among these people who laughed at him, there were not only the spectators from the Manglongton base, but also the spectators from the King Time Mountain base. The magical cannon fodder still wanted to perform 5 consecutive peerless in this match. That was absolutely impossible. Most of the spectators were thinking about how many times Jong Jun would perform 5 consecutive peerless in this match and how many times he could kill Jin Ke. There were even some wealthy spectators who made bets on these speculations. The first bet was that Jong Jun could complete at least 5 consecutive peerless in this match. The bet was 10-1, and the minimum bet was 100 energy points. If Jong Jun could complete 5 consecutive peerless, the dealer would lose. If he could not complete it, the dealer would take all. In a short while, more than 1,000 people bet on this dealer, with a total of more than 200,000 energy points. If Jong Jun can complete 5 consecutive peerless once, the audience can earn 10 points by betting 100 points. If Jong Jun fails to complete 5 consecutive peerless once, all the energy points bet by the audience belong to the dealer. In the eyes of the audience, it should be very easy for Jong Jun to complete 5 consecutive peerless. The second banker is to bet on how many times Jong Jun can kill Jin Ke in this game. If Jong Jun can kill Jin Ke once, 10-1, kill twice, 5-1, kill 3 times, 3-1. There is no point in the future, because no one thinks that the King Time Mountain base can last until Jin Ke is killed more than 4 times. Soon, hundreds of people also bet on this banker, with a total of more than 70,000 energy points. The third banker is to bet on whether Jin Ke, the magical cannon fodder in the previous round, can complete 5 consecutive peerless in this game. 1-20, with a minimum bet of 10 energy points. The audience thought that the dealer was bored and put out such a banker that had no possibility at all, and no one would give money to the dealer for nothing. But unexpectedly, someone really bet on it. More than 100 people bet, but most of them only bet 10 energy points, and the most bet was 50 energy points. It was obvious that they were all just betting for fun. Just before the start of the game, someone suddenly bet 10,000 energy points on Jin Ke's 5 consecutive worlds at once. 20-1. Theoretically, the upper limit of the payout for this game has exceeded 200,000 energy points. Soon, news came out that these 10,000 energy points were bet by Jin Ke's master Zhang Shidao, and the audience sitting behind him saw him bet with their own eyes. This news spread extremely quickly, 1-10, 10-100, and spread throughout the entire stadium. Zhang Shidao was very upset at this time. An old man who had always been very low-key suddenly became an internet celebrity at this time. The low-key old man said that he was under a lot of pressure. Of these 10,000 energy points, 8,000 were entrusted by Jin Ke to bet. In order to show his support for his apprentice, Zhang Shidao impulsively bet the 2,000 energy points used by the equipment department for engraving runes. Zhang Shidao regretted it after betting. In this competition, Jin Ke didn't look like he could win 5 consecutive victories again. He had embezzled public funds, so he had to be frugal in the future. This old man is drunk. He even lost his brain to support his apprentice. Does old man Zhang have a brain? Haha. Don't you see the regretful expression on his face now? He is just a stubborn and stupid old man. He knows he is wrong, but he insists on going further and further on the wrong path. 10,000 energy points. He probably misappropriated the public funds of the equipment department. When the competition is over, he will be in trouble if he can't pay back the debt. 10,000 energy points are enough for their master to do hard labor for several years before he can pay it back. Nonsense. Maybe Fan Wenji got excited and wrote off the debt? You are talking nonsense. Fan Wenji doted on that cannon fodder so much last time because he thought he could help them get from the top 8 to the top 4. Now he meets Menglongton and wants to get from the top 8 to the top 4. Once the tour is over, it will be time to settle all the old and new accounts together. I really want to see how embarrassed that kid is when he is kicked out of dormitory number 18, haha. And his miserable appearance when he is kicked down from the position of deputy director of the security department. The audience mocked and talked about it, but the audience from Qingtai Mountain Base mocked the most, which made the audience from Menglongton Base very confused. Anyway, this magical cannon fodder also helped you to enter the top 8, right? In a VIP box in the stands, a man looked at the 10,000 energy points of Zheng Shidao, the banker in front of him, and a grim smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. If you know him, you will find that this man is Yun Fiang from Mang Base. Mang Base has been eliminated, and the ranking match from 16th to 9th place will be in the afternoon. Yun Fiang has nothing to do at this time, so he specially spent energy points to book a box in the virtual arena of Qingtai Mountain Base and Menglongton Base, wanting to see how miserable the magical cannon fodder who ruined his reputation twice with the 5 consecutive peerless will be in this round. Just now, after someone made a bet, in order to humiliate Jin Ke and to repay the humiliation of the previous 2 5 consecutive peerlesses, he also made a special bet, betting that Jin Ke could complete a 5 consecutive peerless in this game. If it weren't for the maximum multiple of 20 times for all the bets made by the banker in all the tours, he was originally going to make a 1 to 100 to 1 1002. Although it was randomly selected, the elite team members of each base were already familiar with these maps, and these maps were similar and would not have much impact on the performance of the game. This time, the map randomly selected was a wild forest map. Although it was a wild forest map, it was similar to the abandoned city map last time, and was also square inches shape. The birthplaces of the 2 sides were in the southwest and northeast corners, connected by a wide road about 2 kilometers long. There were also 2 roads along the edge of the map that led to the other side's base, forming the so-called upper, middle and lower offensive or defensive routes. A shallow beach ran from the northwest through the southeast, dividing the position into 2 halves. Between the upper, middle and lower roads were mountains, forests and hills, where various wild monsters appeared. After the tour started, there was 5 minutes of preparation time, and the members of both sides were restricted to their respective bases and could not go out. At this time, in addition to discussing various tactics among the team members of their own team, the 2 sides would talk nonsense to put psychological pressure on each other. However, this time, the 2 sides tacitly did not have any verbal battles. Chapter 277 Self-Knowledge. After all, they are old rivals who have played against each other 4 times. One was the 16-8 and 8-4 a year ago, and the other 2 were the 4-2 in the last 2 quarters. Moreover, the record between the 2 sides is 4-0. The strength gap is there, and it is meaningless to talk nonsense. The Chinese national football team and the Korean national football team often talk nonsense. When have you ever seen the Chinese national football team talk nonsense with the Brazilian team, the Argentine team, the German team, the French team, and the Italian team? It is important to know yourself. 5 minutes later, the game officially began. Develop in a sleazy way. Don't waste time. Fan Wenji reminded everyone as usual before leaving. Can you please stop saying this? I feel like we will lose when I hear this. Li Zheng complained. I feel the same way. Yao Chengzu agreed. Then you can waste time as you like. Fan Wenji smiled bitterly. Yao Chengzu sat in the middle lane. Fan Wenji guarded the top lane. Li Zheng played in the jungle. Jin Ke followed Ran Maqian to the bottom lane. The audience's attention also followed Jin Ke to the bottom lane. The lower lane of King Moss Mountain, which is also the upper lane of Menglongton, is guarded by the warrior Zhao Yulong of Menglongton. Zhao Yulong is the 3rd-ranked warrior in the entire shelter. He has sharp skills, many changes, and is experienced. Zhao Yulong stayed cautiously not far from his own turret, and used several skills to snipe the 3 cannon fodders on King Moss Mountain. After meeting Ran Maqian and Jin Ke, he immediately retreated to his own turret. Ran Maqian had no shooters around him. He followed Fan Wenji's pre-match tactical arrangement and killed the 3 cannon fodders before retreating to his own tower with Jin Ke. I don't know if it was because he saw that Ran Maqian and Jin Ke played very conservatively, but Zhao Yulong, a warrior at the Menglongton base, gradually expanded the defense area to the vicinity of the King Moss Mountain base turret. Ran Maqiang still refused to come out. At this time, Li Jing, who had just hit the deceleration and increased attack power buff from the wild area, quietly sneaked to the lower lane, ready to encircle Zhao Yulong. Ran Maqiang understood what he meant, and immediately called Jin to rush out of the turret and surrounded Zhao Yulong. Zhao Yulong threw an attack skill at Ran Maqiang, and then immediately fled back to his own turret. Jin Ke threw a ball of green mist in front of Zhao Yulong. Because the attribute point suppression effect was very limited, it only slightly blocked Zhao Yulong and gave Zhao Yulong a poisoning buff, which only lost a negligible amount of health. This attack power is insane. Is it just a tickle? Even if it was Yuan Kaiang, he wouldn't have done this much damage, right? It's okay to sneak attack when he's cannon fodder, but when he's the main force in the official game, forget about this little damage. This game is definitely lost. Do you think you can win? The audience in King Timeout saw Jin Ke's first shot and started to discuss. At this moment, Li Jing rushed out of the jungle in front of Zhao Yulong, and a round of fierce skill attacks instantly knocked Zhao Yulong's initial white armor and 1/3 of his health. The deceleration buff also slowed down Zhao Yulong's escape speed. At the beginning of the game, everyone was wearing white clothes, and the armor value was very low, almost negligible. Ran Maqiang also rushed up and threw 2 attack skills in a row, and together with Li Jing, Zhao Yulong's health was reduced to half. Jin Ke also opened fire at full power. Soul Gathering, Fatal Redemption, Arbitration of Good and Evil, Death Charge, Death Cut. Zhao Yulong's remaining 7,000 or 8,000 health, knocked down about 100 points. Zhao Yulong released a repulse skill without much attack power, which blew up Jin Ke's armor and interrupted Jin Ke's combo, and then continued to escape back to his own turret. What did I see just now? Haha. The magic cannon fodder threw out 5 or 6 skills with great power, tickling Zhao Yulong. Zhao Yulong pushed him casually and knocked off his armor, with his little attack power and defense value. Is he playing in the game for fun? Why do I feel that Yuan Kaiang should still be on the field, and it would be better for this magic cannon fodder to continue to be a cannon fodder? There were all kinds of ridicules in the stands, mainly from the audience of King Moss Mountain. Since it was a game that was bound to be lost, there was no need to waste energy to cheer for their side. Their main purpose was to see how Jin Ke made a fool of himself. Ran Maqiang and Li Jing did not want to miss the opportunity to get the first blood, and continued to chase the fleeing Zhao Yulong with Jin Ke. Zhao Yulong's blood volume continued to drop, down to about 1/3. At this time, Zhang Jun, holding a thin sword, suddenly appeared. Zhang Jun rushed over with a displacement skill and released an energy sword array on the spot, covering Ran Maqiang, Li Jing, and Jin Ke. Jin Ke wanted to attack Zhang Jun, but found that he couldn't lock onto the target at all, and his health was drained to a single digit the moment the sword formation appeared. In a flash, Jin Ke escaped from the range of the sword formation with a death assault, and then activated the death shadow to hide and quickly escape back to his own turret. Zhang Jun chased Jin Ke for a few steps and lost his trace, so he had to cover Zhao Yulong and retreat back to his own turret position. Li Jing was hit to half of his health, and Ran Maqiang was also hit to lose 1/3 of his health. Seeing that they couldn't gain any advantage, they also retreated to their own positions. Jin Ke fled back to the second turret in the underground road of his own formation in one breath, and then activated the teleportation skill that was only available during the game. 15 seconds later, he teleported back to his own base and fell into the fountain for treatment, instantly bringing his health and energy back to full value. Although it takes 15 seconds to teleport, the fountain replenishes blood and energy instantly. As long as he returns to the fountain and soaks, he can immediately return to the battlefield. With my attack power, I can't cause any harm to these big guys, but they can't take my life with a random attack. It's too dangerous outside. It's still the safest in the spring. Jin Ke sighed, and didn't want to leave the spring. Then, don't leave. Jin Ke simply lay down on the spot. What's going on the field? Someone is sleeping in the fountain? Am I seeing right? That person is the magical cannon fodder. Ha 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 ha. He was scared by Zhang Jun's sword formation. Zhang Jun was just a little bit away from killing him in an instant. What a pity, isn't that right? If he lies in the fountain like this and doesn't come out, Zhang Jun won't be able to kill him even once, and he won't be able to 5 consecutive kills. Aren't all our bets lost? Did he do it on purpose? No, we should ask him for compensation. This guy is too shameless. Even if he loses, he has to lose fairly. He just fought once and he hid back in the fountain to lie down and sleep, leaving several teammates to support him. AFK dog. The audience off the field cursed. Jin Ke, what's going on? Fan Wenji asked Jin Ke. Chapter 278, Comprehensive Ban on Whipping. I will go out after the jungler buys me some equipment, otherwise, it will be no different from giving away heads. Why should I give them gold coins for nothing? Jin Ke answered Fan Wenji righteously. Ah, Fan Wenji sighed. What Jin Ke said was right. In this kind of competition, for every head killed, the opponent can get thousands to tens of thousands of virtual gold coins to buy better equipment. With Jin Ke in white clothes, he will be killed instantly when he meets his opponents. He was lucky to escape back to the fountain with only a single digit of health left. After all, the game had just begun, and the opponent's warrior Xiao Long and assassin Zhang Jun had not yet developed. Once the opponent developed, he would be killed instantly when he saw him. It was a mistake to let him be cannon fodder in the last game. Is it also a mistake to let him be the main force in this game? Fan Wenji didn't know what to do. The other people who heard the conversation between Fan Wenji and Jin Ke were also very upset. They wanted to say something but there was nothing to say. They just regarded it as a 4-on-5 game. It was a loss anyway. At least they could look better if they lost the 4-on-5 game. In the next game, Jin Ke really lay in the fountain without moving. With one less person on the field, Fan Wenji and his 4 men had a very difficult time defending. The wild area was basically occupied by the Menglongton base, and they could only retreat to the turret. Soon the Menglongton base gained an absolute advantage in economy. After equipping, it caused a comprehensive suppression of the Qingtashan base. Fan Wenji and his 4 men retreated step by step. 6 of the 9 turrets in the upper, middle and lower parts had been destroyed, leaving only the 3 turrets on the high ground to maintain the last line of defense. Didn't you just say that you would come out to fight after you got the equipment? Why are you still lying there without moving? Others have come to your doorstep. Is he still thinking of taking advantage like last time and doing a 5-game winning streak? It's obvious that he has admitted defeat. It's better to surrender as soon as possible. It's really heartbreaking to be pressed in the half-court like this. Although Qingtai Mountain Base also lost to Menglongton Base in the first 2 quarters, it has never lost so badly. It's really amazing to have a superb teammate. The audience in the stands were discussing all kinds of things. The audience in Qingtai Mountain Base was extremely disappointed with the magical cannon fodder. The audience in Menglongton Base who wanted to watch the magical cannon fodder were also very disappointed. It seemed that this cannon fodder had just relied on luck in the last game. When he met a real strong team, he could only lie down and sing the Song of Conquest. 25 minutes into the game, Menglongton Base organized the first full-scale attack on Qingtai Mountain Base. 5 elites led a dozen cannon fodder to kill from the middle lane. Fan Wenji and his 4 companions led a dozen cannon fodders to defend the middle turret, trying to drag the game into half an hour. Otherwise it would be too embarrassing. The gap in equipment, strength, and number of people accumulated together. Not long after, the archer Li Zheng fell in Zhang Jun's sword formation, and then the mage Yao Chengzu died under Zhang Jun's sword. 2 consecutive hits. Without the output of the mage and archer, and no assassin to cut the back row, Fan Wenji and Ran Maqian were successively focused on and fell under the middle turret whose health was about to be drained. 3 consecutive hits to win. 4 consecutive extraordinary. Zhang Jun, the captain of the Menglongton Base, won the 4 consecutive extraordinary. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the 5 consecutive peerless. Because Jin Ke was lying in the fountain, no one could do anything to him. Unlike the last match against Mang Base, this time, after the Menglongton Base defeated the last line of defense of Qingtai Mountain Base and killed the 4 elites of Qingtai Mountain Base, only the tanks and warriors were half health, while the mages, assassins, and shooters basically had more than 80% health. The 5 elites of Menglongton base dispersed and led the cannon fodder from 5 directions to kill the crystal column of King Tai Mountain base. Surrender. Li Jing pressed the surrender button in front of him. Ran Mockying also surrendered. I haven't made a move yet. Why are you surrendering? Are you crazy? Jin cursed and immediately refused to surrender. I won't surrender. I support you. Yao Chengzu refused to surrender. What do you want? Pentakill? Fan Wenji smiled bitterly. He felt like a clown now, and the audience was laughing at him. Who told him to use Jin Ke? Unexpectedly, Jin Ke's willpower was so poor, he was frightened by Zhang Jun's sword formation and lay in the spring water without going out. You're right. Now, it's time to witness a miracle. Jin Ke stood up from the spring. Look, the magic cannon fodder has woken up. The magic cannon fodder is going to show his power and get a 5 kill. I'm so looking forward to it. 5 consecutive kills. Today I can witness a miracle with my own eyes. Young man, the task of maintaining world peace and saving the earth is left to you. Don't do 4 consecutive extraordinary kills. If you want to play, do 5 consecutive kills. The audiences in the King Tai Mountain base and Mang base in the stands were all very excited when they saw Jin Ke standing up from the spring. Of course, all the words they said just now were all ironic. The Menglongton base was not the Mang base. It was obvious that they came prepared. Even if they attacked the crystal column, they and the cannon fodder would stand in different areas next to the crystal column, and slowly let the cannon fodder, shooters, and mages attack the crystal column from a distance. After arranging the formation, Zhang Jun approached the spring of King Tai Mountain base. Although Zhang Jun has the ability to enter the opponent's fountain, set up a sword formation in the opponent's fountain and then retreat unscathed, it is meaningless to do so. The fountains in the tour are instantly replenished with health and energy, and the members standing in the fountain are equivalent to having invincible attributes. But Zhang Jun still came to the fountain and looked at Jin Ke in the fountain. His purpose is simple, not to let Jin Ke leave the fountain, not to let Jin Ke have the opportunity to release the firecracker skill. Even if he will not be killed by the firecracker skill, it is also very embarrassing to be blown up by bang 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 bang. Therefore, they suppressed Jin throughout the game just to tell him that the stadium has completely banned firecrackers, and you can't think of setting off firecrackers again. When will you make a move? Fan Wenji asked Jin Ke. Just now. Jin Ke stood up from the fountain, but Zhang Jun came over and guarded the fountain. It seemed that Jin Ke could not get out and had no chance to set off firecrackers. Ran Mockying and Li Jing were just scolded for being stupid, and they were very upset. They stared at Jin Ke in the fountain with anger. Jin Ke still had a relaxed look on his face, and did not move, allowing the Menglongton base to hit the crystal column to half health. Who do you think should be killed first? Jin Ke asked them when he saw that the resurrection time of Fan Wenji and the other 4 was about to end. Fan Wenji smiled bitterly. He was always gentle, but now he had the urge to tear Jin Ke's mouth apart. All the cows were scared away because they were afraid of boasters like you. Chapter 279 Hadyujin. Kill the shooter first. He poses the greatest threat to the crystal column. Yao Chengzu answered Jin Ke seriously. Okay, kill the shooter first. Jin Ke waved his hands quickly in front of him. This scene was very similar to the martial arts movies in the 1980s. It was obvious that he was ready to use a big move. At the same time, he was still muttering something. Zhang Jun stood by the spring, holding a thin sword and watching Jin Ke's magic with interest. At this time, he didn't believe that Jin Ke could still reverse the situation of the entire arena. However, when he found that more than a dozen energy runes appeared out of thin air around Jin Ke, he suddenly felt something was wrong. Everything was too late. The 18 runes were condensed in 2.5 seconds, and after half a second of arranging them into a spherical array, they turned into a blazing fireball slightly larger than a basketball. Hadyujin! Jin Ke shouted, and with both hands, he pushed the fireball in front of him towards Wu Kaiheng, the shooter at the Menglongton base. Wu Kaiheng, the shooter at the Menglongton base, felt that something was wrong, and quickly used a lateral displacement skill to dodge the fireball that came out of nowhere. But what he didn't expect was that the fireball actually had a lock-on tracking function. After he used the lateral displacement skill, the fireball also changed direction in the air and hit him directly. Bang! With a muffled sound, Wu Kaiheng's head exploded with 50,000 points of damage. and he was directly killed back at the base. The avatar of the person who was killed showed Wu Kaiheng, the shooter at the Menglongton base, and the avatar of the murderer showed Jin Ke. Fuck, what the hell? More than 50,000 damage? Wu Kaiheng was confused. Fan Wenji, Ran Maqiang, and Li Zhang were also confused. Yao Chengzu found that the other three people were looking at him together, and hurriedly shook his head, indicating that all this had nothing to do with him. What happened just now? Most of the audience subconsciously stood up and looked carefully at the virtual arena. Why did the shooter die? Zhang Jun, the captain of the Menglongton base, the soldier Zhao Long, the mage Chen Lu, and the tank Yi Biao were all confused. The world is too wonderful, and the brain is not enough. Hyujin. 3 seconds later, another fireball flew out of Jin Ke's hand, and this time it also exploded with 50,000 points of damage. The one who was directly hung back to the base was the mage Chen Lu of the Menglongton base. Second consecutive break. A group of fireworks rose above the stadium. The avatar of the killed person showed that the mage Chen Lu of the Menglongton base, and the avatar of the murderer was Jin Ke. Fuck. Mage Chen Lu cursed. Hyujin. 6 seconds later, the confused soldier Zhao Long of the Menglongton base also died back to the base. 3 consecutive wins. The avatar of the killed person showed that the soldier Zhao Long of the Menglongton base, and the avatar of the murderer was Jin Ke. Hyujin. 9 seconds later, Yi Biao, a tank from the Menglongton base who was about to escape from the high ground when he realized something was wrong, also returned to the base with his 3 teammates. Jin Ke's fireball technique had a maximum attack distance of 180 meters, just covering the high ground where the King Moss Mountain base was located. 4 consecutive superb. The avatar of the person who was killed was Yi Biao, a tank from the Menglongton base, and the avatar of the murderer was Jin Ke. I must have seen a ghost. In order not to give Jin Ke the opportunity to perform the 5 consecutive superb, Zhang Jun, the captain of the Menglongton base who had just woken up, quickly released all his displacement skills in succession. Taking advantage of Jin Ke's opportunity to kill other teammates, he escaped from the high ground and desperately fled to his own base, and really let him escape the range of Jin Ke's fireball attack. Hadu. Jin condensed 18 more runes. After finding that the assassin Zhang Jun had escaped the range of the fireball, he quickly entered the stealth state with the death shadow, increasing his speed by 50%. After a few steps, he threw out a ball of green mist, and a death charge appeared behind a cannon fodder from the Menglongton base who was frantically attacking the crystal column of the King Moss Mountain base. Then he performed another death charge, covering a distance of more than 10 meters in an instant. Before the fireball dissipated, he pulled the assassin and Captain Zhang Jun of the Menglongton base back into the range of the fireball. Hyujin. Another 50,000 points of damage exploded. Grass, 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 grass. Zhang Jun had already escaped from the high ground. He originally thought he was safe, but he never thought that the fireball would still chase him. After cursing a few times, he still couldn't avoid the fireball attack. Bang! The fireball exploded. 5 consecutive peerless. The avatar of the person who was killed showed that it was the assassin Zhang Jun of the Menglongton base, and the avatar of the murderer was Jin Ke. Fan Wenji was confused just now, but now he is shocked. Ran Maqiang and Li Zhang were angry at first, confused just now, but now they are shocked and ashamed. Yao Chengzu opened his mouth so wide that he could fit an egg in it. After he came to his senses, he laughed. The 5 elites of Menglongton base all returned to the base. Everyone was confused, looking at each other, and no one could say a word. Damn, I have analyzed all the skills of the magical cannon fodder frame by frame, so why didn't I find that he can also use fireball, with 50,000 points of damage at a time? Can we still have fun? This newcomer is not a genius warrior at all. He is just a bug. All the audience were stunned. The magical cannon fodder has done 5 consecutive hits again. What's with this fireball? It's an eye-opener. 50,000 points of damage at a time. Even if Boss Shen from the Green Plains shelter comes over, he can kill him in one move. Invincible. 5,000 points of damage. 1 in 3 seconds. This game is unbearable to watch. How did he do it? Haha. When Jin Ke gave him 8,000 energy points to stake on his behalf, he thought Jin Ke was being a bit ridiculous, but in order to support Jin Ke, He embezzled another 2,000 energy points and staked them together. He originally thought that he would lose all his money, but he never expected that his 2,000 energy points would turn into 40,000. Jin Ke's 8,000 energy points turned into 160,000. In a luxurious box in the stands, Yun Fiang's face became extremely ugly. Originally, he opened this bank to humiliate Jin Ke and make a little money. He never expected that Jin Ke would win 5 consecutive bets again. What the hell is Hadyujin? Chapter 280 How to Fight. Standing in the fountain to use skills? Isn't the maximum range of attacks skills of mages and archers only 50 meters? The range of this fireball is almost 200 meters? Yun Fiang never expected that this petty setup would not humiliate Jin Ke in the end, but instead make him lose more than 200,000 energy points. What a loss. What kind of trick is this? How can there be a fireball with such a strong power and such a long attack distance? This is too buggy, isn't it? With such a buggy skill, how can we play? Even if we gain a big advantage and attack their high ground, we will just give him 5 consecutive ultimates. I didn't see him use this fireball in the last game. In the last game, he was cannon fodder, unable to return to the fountain and use fireball. This magical cannon fodder is too magical, isn't it? Why does he hide in the fountain all the time and not come out to kill 5? I guess this fireball consumes a lot of energy, and it accumulates energy in stages. He can't use it if he is not in the fountain. After the 5 elites of the Menglongton base team returned to the base, they were waiting for resurrection. There were all kinds of discussions and analyses. At the same time that the 5 elites of the Menglongton base team were sent back to the base by Jin Ke's 5 fireballs, Fan Wenji, Ran Maqiang, Yao Chengzu, and Li Zheng of the King Tashan base had also been resurrected from the base. After they were resurrected, they immediately led a group of cannon fodder from King Moss Mountain to rush to Menglongton base. The 5 elites from Menglongton base could only watch as the 4 elites from King Moss Mountain base pushed 3 turrets in the middle lane, killed their base on the high ground, and then began to attack their crystal pillars frantically. Unfortunately, the 4 elites from King Moss Mountain base were poorly equipped at this time, and it took a lot of time to attack the turrets, and the damage to the crystal pillars was also limited. When the crystal pillars of Menglongton base lost 1/5 of their health, the 5 elites from Menglongton base had already been resurrected one after another. Retreat. Jin Ke stayed in his own fountain, watching his teammates' shared vision and temporarily played the role of commander. The 4 elites from King Moss Mountain base also saw that this attack could not push down the crystal pillars of Menglongton base. After hearing Jin Ke's retreat order, they obediently withdrew from the high ground. It's a pity that we couldn't push down the crystal pillars, Fan Wenji said with a somewhat ashamed tone. After a pentakill, the weaker side has the best chance to counterattack. Sometimes, there may only be this chance in the whole game, but they didn't seize it. If they had played better before, they might have had a chance to win the game this time. Boss Fan, do you want to win this game? Jin Ke asked Fan Wenji. Yes, Fan Wenji had given up hope, but Jin Ke's magical 5 consecutive kills rekindled his desire for victory. Then from now on, don't question any of my decisions, and obey my command completely. I will make you win this game. Jin Ke proposed to Fan Wenji. Okay. Fan Wenji agreed immediately. As long as he could win, he would agree to any request. What about the others? Jin Ke asked the other 3. I have no problem. Yao Chengzu answered Jin Ke. All actions are subject to command. Ran Maqiang and Li Zheng also answered Jin Ke. Jin Ke's another pentakill made them have to obey. The current tactic is, you 4 don't need to attack or defend, just gather together to play jungle or lead the troops. Remember, stay together at any time, and force your way up when you meet them. Hit them if you can, and it doesn't matter if you can't kill them all. I'm here to guard the high ground, and no one can get up. Jin Ke issued an order. Okay. Fan Wenji and others were confident and followed Jin Ke's order to play jungle. Captain, how do we play? After the 5 elites of the Menglongton base killed the cannon fodders who besieged their crystal column at the King Moss Mountain base, they looked towards the King Moss Mountain base with a confused look on their faces. It seemed that no matter what they did now, it was meaningless. The fireball spell had a damage of up to 50,000 and covered the entire King Moss Mountain highland. If they dared to go up, they would be killed one by one. Moreover, This fireball had explosive damage. If they attacked together with the cannon fodder, a large number of them would die. Jin Ke lay in the spring and didn't come out. They had no way to deal with him. Doesn't this mean that it's a game that can't be won no matter what? Although that guy's fireball spell is powerful, it also has weaknesses. I just observed it up close. He practices a spell that requires condensed energy runes to cast, which consumes a lot of energy. Once he leaves the fountain, those runes and fireballs may automatically dissipate, so he can only hide in the fountain and cast fireballs, and can't use fireballs in team battles below the high ground. So, as long as we don't go up the high ground and don't get close to their high ground tower line, there will be no problem. Captain Zhang Jun analyzed. If we don't go up the high ground and don't get close to their high ground tower line, there is no way to win the game. Mage Chanlu questioned. We can't win, and neither can they. The worst that can happen is that we can keep wasting time. If the game lasts for a day and a night, the organizing committee will not be able to bear it and will naturally intervene to determine the outcome of this game. I don't believe that the organizing committee will rule them the winner. So, no matter what, we can't give up. Everyone continue to play jungle, lead the line, and improve their strength. Otherwise they will have better equipment and develop, and it will be difficult for us to maintain a draw. Captain Zhang Jun made the decision with a sullen face. The morale of the 5 elites at the Menglongton base was very low, but they still listened to their captain's decision and dispersed to play jungle and lead the line. The 4 elites at the King Mo's mountain base had no worries at all. They didn't care about turrets, soldiers, etc. After clearing their own jungle area, they rushed to the opponent's jungle area. As long as they met members of the Menglongton base, whether they were alone or in a group, they would immediately rush up and fight hard regardless of life and death. Sometimes, under Jin Ke's command, they would ignore the opponent's attacks and forcefully push the opponent's turrets. If they died once, they would come again, exchanging blood for blood and using blood to pile up the opponent's turrets. For a while, the situation on the field became extremely chaotic. The Menglongton base was beaten by the rogue style of play of the Qingtai Mountain base and had no temper at all. After taking 3 consecutive heads at the Qingtai Mountain base and pushing down 2 turrets of the Menglongton base, the 5 elites of the Menglongton base had to gather together and fight against the Qingtai Mountain base again and again. After not worrying about the base at all, the mentality of the 4 elites of Qingtai Mountain was completely relaxed, and their level began to perform beyond their normal level. Because they were constantly harassed in the early stage, their backward equipment was slowly made up one by one. Chapter 281 Boring. The 5 elites of Menglongton base felt hopeless because of Jin Ke's bug-level fireball technique, and could only delay the game time. Their mentality was completely unbalanced. Once a mistake was made, they complained to each other, and their mood became worse and worse, which led to their performance getting worse and worse. Fortunately, with the advantage in numbers, after Zhang Jun, the captain of Menglongton base, emphasized discipline and encouraged morale several times, the 5 elites of Menglongton base regained their spirits. The 5 people were divided into 2 teams, Captain Zhang Jun alone in one team, and the other 4 elites in one team. After encountering the 4 elites of King Mo's mountain, they were not so passive. Because of the advantage in numbers, the 5 elites of Menglongton base were obviously more efficient in jungling and clearing the line of soldiers than King Mo's mountain base, and their equipment was always ahead of King Mo's mountain base. However, their leading advantage will soon disappear. After the virtual equipment of the tour reaches a full set of orange equipment, there is no better equipment to replace it. Because of Jin Ke's fireball, if they can't attack the high platform, the King Mo's mountainside will rely on rogue tactics to consume, and sooner or later everyone will change into a full set of orange equipment, and catch up with the equipment advantage that has always been leading in the Menglongton base. In the later stage, the Menglongton base lost its economic and equipment advantages, and stood on the same level with the King Mo's mountain base. This is Jin Ke's conspiracy. Everyone in the Menglongton base can see it, but they can't do anything about it. The later the resurrection time is, the longer it takes, and the Menglongton base dares not to attack the high ground of the King Mo's mountain base. Once they attack and are destroyed by Jin Ke's fireball, the King Moss Mountain base will counterattack, and they will lose this game. Another hour and a half has passed, and the game has lasted for 2 hours. All the members of the elite groups on both sides have changed into orange equipment, and the economic and equipment advantages accumulated by the Menglongton base before no longer exist. The number of heads hunted on the field was 63 to 17. 63 is the number of heads hunted by the Menglongton base, and 17 is the number of heads hunted by the Qingtashan base. Judging from the number of heads, the Menglongton base still has an absolute advantage. Of course, there is a reason for this. The 4 elites of the Qingtashan base launched various sneak attacks and harassment, and even did not hesitate to die to force the tower, and destroyed all the turrets of the Menglongton base. During this process, the 4 elites of the Qingtashan base returned to the base more than 10 times. They used heads to replace all the turrets of the Menglongton base. In this way, as long as the 5 elites of the Menglongton base died collectively once again, the crystal column would definitely not be saved. The 4 elites of the Qingtashan base were not worried at all when they exchanged their lives for turrets, because even if all 4 of them died, as long as Jin Ke was still lying in the spring, the Menglongton base would not dare to touch the high ground of the Qingtashan base, and even dared not to set foot in the area more than 100 meters below the high ground. It was useless for the cannon fodders from the Menglongton base to attack the high ground. When Jin Ke threw a fireball, a bunch of cannon fodders were blown up into the sky. They could not get close to the crystal pillars of the King Moss Mountain base at all. Jin Ke, who was lying in the spring, could throw fireballs without spending any money. He could rub them to his heart's content. As the game time went on, the number of cannon fodders on both sides increased, and the frequency of cannon fodders' departure became more and more frequent. After all the cannon fodders with attributes between 120 and 140 of the King Moss Mountain base were exhausted, the cannon fodders that had played previously according to the rules of the game started the second round of playing again. Of course, in each cycle, each cannon fodder can only play once. "Captain, are we going to keep fighting like this? It seems there is no end," Ran Maqiang asked Fan Wenji. "Director Jin, all their turrets have been pushed down. Can we try to attack the high ground?" Fan Wenji humbly asked Jin Ke for advice. "Don't rush to attack the high ground. The 4 of you should find an opportunity to fight the 5 of them head-on. Find a way to use the terrain and their bad formation to gain an advantage. It doesn't matter if you lose 99 times out of 100, as long as you gain an advantage once. You can attack their high ground and push the crystal column directly." Jin Ke thought for a moment and answered Fan Wenji. "Okay." Fan Wenji thought there was nothing new after hearing what Jin Ke said, but he didn't have any better ideas for the time being, so he decided to follow Jin Ke's tactics. The other 3 elites of King Moss Mountain also doubted Jin Ke's tactics. They were much weaker in strength and 1 less in number. They felt that even if they fought the 5 elites of Menglongton head-on 100 times, it would be difficult to gain an advantage once. The 5 elites of the Menglongton base had adjusted their mentality at this time. They didn't want to lose the game just like that. Moreover, the cooperation between the 5 of them was quite tacit and they were also very experienced. After finding the 4 elites of the King Moss Mountain base charging their high ground again and again, they also gathered together and waited for the opportunity to fight with them. They didn't give the 4 elites of King Moss Mountain base any chance to take advantage of them. Another 2 long hours passed. The audience in the stands were all drowsy. Since the start of the tour, they had never seen such a wonderful game. Many spectators of the Menglongton base submitted a petition letter to the organizing committee or the senior management of the shelter, requesting a judgment on this boring game to avoid wasting everyone's time. However, it is conceivable that this judgment will not come too soon. The organizing committee of the tournament must solicit the opinions of both sides of the game, and then hold a meeting to discuss and weigh the pros and cons before making a decision. During these 2 hours, the field was busy all the time. The 4 elites of Qingtai Mountain base and the 5 elites of Menglongton base had a total of 21 group battles, and each time the 4 elites of Qingtai Mountain base died, the 5 elites of Menglongton base had an advantage in numbers, so generally only 1 or 2 of them died. The most they died was 3, but they also wiped out the 4 elites of Qingtai Mountain base, so they were safe all the time. "Are you done yet?" Is it fun to go on like this? We have submitted an application to the event organizing committee to request an off-site judgment. You have agreed, right? So we can do something more meaningful. Zhang Jun, the captain of Menglongton Base, negotiated with King Tai Mountain Base. If you think it's boring, you can surrender. We are playing normally according to the rules. Why should we bother the event organizing committee to intervene? Fan Wenji, the captain of King Tai Mountain Base, replied to Zhang Jun, why should we surrender? If you didn't rely on the fireball bug, you would have lost to us long ago. We will complain to the event organizing committee later. Zhang Jun, the captain of Menglongton Base, was very angry. Go ahead and complain, but we will continue to fight this match until you surrender and admit defeat. We will never agree to the off-field decision of the tournament organizing committee. Fan Wenji replied to Zhang Jun. Chapter 282 fell into a trap. Fan Wenji, you are being shameless. Don't you have any idea of the strength comparison between us? Zhang Jun was very angry. The strength comparison between us? Oh, I remember we had a pentakill, and you didn't have one. I don't know who didn't have an idea. Fan Wenji answered Zhang Jun. The two sides started another team fight while talking nonsense. This team fight took place in a wild area. This was also the location Jin Ke had Fan Wenji choose. Although Fan Wenji didn't understand why Jin Ke arranged it this way, since Jin Ke had always been arranging the tactics, he would just execute it to the end. Anyway, they didn't think they could win this game. Because of the dozens of team fights before, the Menglongton Base had formed a fixed mindset and didn't think this team fight was any different from the other dozens of times. As for the location, except for the high ground of the King Moss Mountain Base and the distance of 100 or 200 meters below the high ground, the two sides had team fights almost everywhere, so they didn't think much about the location of this team fight. The Menglongton team even had the illusion that the other team only had 4 players, and completely forgot about Jin Ke lying in the spring. They had always arranged their tactics according to the situation of 5 against 4, and this time was no exception. However, this time was different. The audience in the stands exclaimed at the first time, but their various reactions and exclamations could not be heard by the people on the field. Fan Wenji and others also found that this time was different, because Jin came out of the spring. Under his careful arrangement, Fan Wenji and others helped him clear a path out before this team battle, so that he could avoid the visible vision of all the cannon fodder in the Menglongton Base and quietly lurk near the team battle area. After the team battle starts later, I will lure Zhang Jun to attack me. You pretend to fight a team battle. Once he comes to attack me, you immediately turn around and surround him. Don't stop using all kinds of skills to kill him in one fell swoop. Jin used his own channel to arrange the next tactic. Although he came out of the spring, he did not participate in the battle, but hid in the jungle 50 meters away, 30 meters away from the battlefield of the team battle. A group of wild monsters appeared near an ancient building with stone walls. The elite groups of both sides also collided head-on at this time, and a melee began, just like the dozens of battles before. After the melee began, Jin quietly appeared 30 meters away from the battlefield of the team battle. In the area where the group of wild monsters were active, a group of green mist suddenly enveloped the entire battlefield of the team battle. Of course, it was Jin's fatal redemption after soul gathering. Jin did not enter the team battle scene, he just rushed around behind this group of wild monsters, followed by ordinary attacks after death assault, and all skills were refreshed after hitting the energy node, and another group of green mist covered the entire battlefield of the team battle. Although Jin's 10 stats were very low, due to the attribute suppression, the deceleration and blinding effects of fatal redemption on the 5 elites of the Menglongton Base were very weak, and the healing effect on the 4 elites of his own side was also average. However, Jin, who shuttled quickly between a group of wild monsters, could continuously throw fatal redemption into the battlefield of the team battle. Occasionally, after getting close, he even had a chance to throw arbitration of good and evil. Also because of the attribute suppression, Jin's damage to wild monsters was also very limited. Although he kept death charge, he couldn't kill these wild monsters for a while. He just used these wild monsters as a tool to refresh the cooldown of skills. The 5 elites at the Menglongton Base, who were used to fighting 5 against 4 and 5 against 4 for more than 20 consecutive times, were obscured by the sudden green fog and their movements were slightly affected. Although the effect was very weak, the blinding was only 0.2 to 0.3 seconds, which was overcome by their powerful 10 circumferences, but they couldn't withstand Jin Ke throwing a ball of green fog every 0.5 seconds. It seriously interfered with their battle rhythm and affected their mood. After the poison mark was stacked to 6 layers, the effect of the poison gradually appeared. Relying on the accumulation of times and time, it also consumed a certain amount of their health. On the contrary, the 4 elites of the King Moss Mountain base were like fish in water in the green fog. Although the healing effect they enjoyed was very limited, after the healing mark was superimposed to the 6th layer, the healing effect in the green fog gradually had a certain effect. In addition, the 5 elites of the Menglongton base were blinded by the green fog from time to time, and they were caught off guard and their positions were in chaos for a while. After discovering that Jin Ke, the instigator of all this, was nearby, Zhang Jun, who was supposed to cut the back row according to the inherent tactics, felt that this was the best time to win. It is conceivable that once the King Moss Mountain base lost Jin Ke and there was no terrifying fireball to defend the high ground, they would have the opportunity to kill the high ground in one fell swoop and blow up the crystal column of the King Moss Mountain base. Zhang Jun gave up the original tactics and rushed to Jin Ke, who was 30 meters away, with 3 consecutive displacements, trying to kill Jin Ke in one fell swoop with the sword array and other high-damage skills. Fan Wenji and others had to admire Jin Ke's foresight. When Zhang Jun rushed towards Jin Ke, Fan Wenji and Ran Maqiang immediately released a knockback skill to block the other 4 elites in the Menglongton base, and then turned around to surround Zhang Jun. When Zhang Jun rushed to Jin Ke with 3 displacement skills and the sword array covered Jin Ke, Jin Ke suddenly disappeared on the other side of the stone wall with a displacement skill. When Zhang Jun frowned and was thinking about which direction to chase, Fan Wenji, Ran Maqiang, Yao Chengzu, and Li Zheng quickly surrounded him. Zhang Jun, whose 3 displacement skills were all in the cooling period, realized at this time that the place chosen by Jin Ke was actually a blind spot. Several tall and thick stone walls blocked him behind him. After Fan Wenji, Ran Maqiang, Yao Chengzu, and Li Zheng surrounded him, it was like a big bag with its mouth closed. He had no way to escape. Fuck, I fell into a trap. Zhang Jun cursed loudly, feeling extremely regretful. He only now understood that Jin Ke's previous stay in this place and constantly throwing poison mist was not actually to interfere with their team battle, but for only one purpose, to consume his displacement skills and then trap him in this dead corner. Losing mobility, Yao Chengzu used a freezing skill, and Zhang Jun, who had no displacement skills, was unable to dodge and was frozen. Zhang Jun quickly used the dispel skill to dispel Yao Chengzu's freezing effect, but Li Zheng immediately used an energy cannon to stun Zhang Jun again. Fan Wenji and Ran Maqiang had also rushed to the front, throwing out various control skills and attack skills at the same time. Under the siege of the 4 people, Zhang Jun's blood volume was quickly drained and he was hung back to the base. Chapter 283 The Silent Majority. The other 4 elites from the Menglongton base chased after Zhang Jun, but it was too late. After Fan Wenji and his 4 companions successfully killed Zhang Jun under Jin Ke's plan, they immediately turned around to meet the 4 elites from the Menglongton base. Without Zhang Jun cutting the back row, Fan Wenji and his 4 companions, who were extremely passive in the previous dozens of team battles, suddenly felt extremely relaxed, just like a person who has been running with lead blocks tied to his body for a long time, and suddenly one day he took off these lead blocks and then ran as fast as flying. Their fighting power was stimulated in an instant. On the contrary, the 4 elites from the Menglongton base, who had relied on Zhang Jun to cut the back row to gain an advantage in the previous dozens of team battles, lost Zhang Jun's assistance at this time, and the combat pressure suddenly increased, and they were very uncomfortable for a while. All of this, of course, was also arranged by Jin Ke. The previous team battles that lasted for several hours, seemingly meaningless team battles, had only one purpose, to let everyone in the Menglongton base relax their vigilance. While the team battle was going on, Jin Ke, who had escaped from Zhang Jun's sword formation, appeared outside the range of the turret above the crystal column of the Menglongton base. With the advantage of being fully equipped with orange armor, he killed every team of cannon fodder from the Menglongton base, while several cannon fodders from the Qingtashan base rushed to the high ground without any hindrance and headed straight for the crystal column of the Menglongton base. Zhang Jun, who had returned to the base, saw that the situation was not good, and quickly issued an order for the remaining members to return to the base immediately. Fan Wenji and his 4 elites took advantage of the situation to kill the mage who was dragged behind the Menglongton base and could not run fast, and then rushed to the high ground of the Menglongton base. After the 3 elites from the Menglongton base fled back to the high ground in a panic, Jin Ke had already evacuated in advance and disappeared from their sight. The 3 elites from the Menglongton base rushed back to the crystal column of the base and attacked with all their strength to clear the cannon fodder from the Qingtashan base that was besieging the crystal column. The 4 elites from Qingtai Mountain base chased after them relentlessly, followed the 3 elites from Menglongton base and killed their way up the high ground, continuing to focus their fire on the 3 elites from Menglongton base. Output with all your strength, blood for blood. Jin Ke once again issued an order to Fan Wenji and others. Fan Wenji and his 4 companions saw the hope of victory, and at this time, of course, they would attack the 3 elites from Menglongton base at all costs. The 2 sides fought bloody battles, their armor values were quickly drained, and their health was also rapidly decreasing. The 3 elites from Menglongton base fought desperately while retreating. Ran Maqiang fell first, and Fan Wenji was also beaten to a low health. The 3 elites from Menglongton base were extremely tenacious. 2 with low health and 1 with half health withstood this round of extremely fierce attacks from the 4 elites from Qingtai Mountain base. It must be said that the 5 elites from Menglongton base were very powerful, far from being comparable to the 5 elites from Mang base. Fan Wenji and others tried their best, but still failed to kill them quickly. At this time, 18 cannon fodders from Menglongton base walked out of the base. Jin Ke also happened to reappear at this time 30 meters away. Zhang Jun, the captain of Menglongton, immediately ordered the 3 elites of Menglongton base to retreat, and all of them quickly retreated to the spring water to instantly replenish their health and energy. Jin Ke also rushed over at high speed, but unfortunately the 15 death marks could no longer reach the 3 elites. After the 3 elites replenished their health and energy, they immediately killed back, each of them extremely brave. First knocked down Fan Wenji, and then concentrated their fire to kill Yao Chengzu and Li Jing. Seeing that the situation was not good, Jin Ke fled back to his own spring water in advance. Failed at the last hurdle. There is no problem with Director Jin's strategy, tactics, command, and response. The key is that our strength is too poor, and we missed the opportunity to win again. Fan Wenji's tone was quite ashamed. The other 3 elites were also silent. If their strength could be stronger, after killing Zhang Jun, there would be a great chance to push down the opponent's crystal column. Unfortunately, after missing this opportunity, it may not be so easy to trick Zhang Jun again. What a pity, alas. We have come this far, but we still haven't pushed it down. It will be even harder later. Although some of the thousands of spectators in the King Moss Mountain base in the stands were unhappy with Jin Ke, when their team was ahead, their collective sense of honor still came up. They had been nervous just now, wanting to see the crystal pillars of the Menglongton base being blown up. But in the end they failed at the last minute, which was really a pity. What about the magical cannon fodder's 5 consecutive peerless attacks? He still can't win the game. Are you stupid now? That's right. A villain will never achieve great success. He has a problem with his character, and even God won't help him. A small group of people who were particularly unhappy with Jin Ke began to attack Jin Ke in various ways. Are you done yet? Do you have any shame? People are fighting for the honor of the base on the field, and you just know how to spit shit here. I think you guys have a problem with your character. A bunch of idiots. Red-eyed, a borer of the base. Director Fan, it's time to discipline these people after the game. They are full of nonsense and spit shit. Don't count on Director Fan. He knows how to smooth things over. Those who maliciously attacked Jin Ke were besieged by other King Moss Mountain spectators around. At the beginning of the game, those who attacked mocked and insulted Jin Ke seemed to have the right to speak. Even if someone wanted to support Jin Ke, they were suppressed by their so-called majority and mainstream opinions and dared not speak. But now Jin Ke has completed the 5 consecutive worlds and almost had the opportunity to defeat the opponent and win the game with clever strategies and tactics. These people still insulted Jin Ke, which made the silent majority unable to remain calm. Many times, the majority of people who truly support justice and conscience are silent and rarely take the initiative to express their opinions. Although those who are full of shit are a minority, they are often the most aggressive. Just a few of these rubbish can bring bad atmosphere and bad rhythm. It is under the very loose management of Fan Wenji that such a bad atmosphere can be created. Fortunately, most people still have conscience. It's a pity that we didn't seize the opportunity. Li Zheng had a regretful expression on his face. We can't attack like this. It seems that it is really difficult for us to win this game. Ran Maqian was a little discouraged. Even if the equipment is the same, the strength is still far behind the opponent. Yao Chengzu spoke. Director Jin, how should we fight next? Fan Wenji had obviously given up the command and let Jin command everything. It's like this. What else can he do? Director Jin has tried his best. Don't make it difficult for him. After the battle just now, Ran Maqian's opinion of Jin changed greatly. That's right. We didn't win because we were not strong enough. No matter what the result of this game is, Director Jin still deserves the credit. Fan Wenji said with a guilty tone. Who said we can't win this game? Jin Ke, who was lying in the spring, spoke. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284 Route Map. How can we win? After hearing what Jin Ke said, Fan Wenji couldn't help but be excited. The others also looked in Jin Ke's direction. If there was anyone in the world who could create a miracle to help them defeat Menglongton in the current situation, it would be Jin Ke. Just follow my instructions, and don't question my decision at any time. Jin Ke put forward his conditions. Of course. You tell us what we should do next, we will do whatever you say. Fan Wenji promised Jin Ke on behalf of the other 3. At this point in the game, if they still can't beat Menglongton, it would be too unacceptable. After we revive, we will continue to harass them together, but we will try to keep the teamfight battlefield close to our own high ground. Don't be too obvious at the beginning. Slowly lure them, and let them gradually lose their vigilance in teamfights. Also, notify all the cannon fodders. Tell them not to fight when they face the cannon fodders on the Menglongton side. Some of them will rush forward, some will turn back to run to their own positions, and some will run to the wild area, pulling the enemy cannon fodder's battle line, and lighting up the map vision of our position as much as possible. Jin Ke said his tactics. Okay. Although Fan Wenji didn't know what Jin Ke's tactics meant, he decided to execute them unconditionally. Menglongton base. Captain, how should we fight next? Warrior Zhao Long asked assassin Zhang Jun. Just like before, continue to waste time. Waste for a few days and nights and wait for the tournament organizing committee to intervene. Everyone stay together and don't separate. Even if you meet that kid sneaking over, that kid is too cunning. We will fall into his trap if we are not careful. Zhang Jun was still frightened by the scene just now. What happened just now was really too dangerous. The others were also in shock. Through the last team battle, we can be sure of one thing. His fireball can't leave the high ground. As long as we don't go up to the high ground, don't get too close to the high ground, and don't disperse, there's nothing to worry about. Zhang Jun added a few more words to encourage morale. Next, the two sides started an endless tug of war. The location of the team battles between the two sides was sometimes in the position near the Menglongton base, sometimes in the middle line, and sometimes in the position on the side of the Qingtashan base. The 5 elites of Menglongton fell into Jin Ke's trap last time, which injured Zhang Jun and almost led to the loss of the game. This time they learned from the last lesson and stayed together. Because of the advantage in numbers and strength, every team battle ended with the victory of the Menglongton base. But the Menglongton base did not dare to attack the high ground of the Qingtashan base. As long as they dared to go up to the high ground, they would face the instant kill of Jin Ke's fireball with a damage of up to 50,000. Once they lose one or two members to the fireball, if they lose to the King Moss Mountain base in the next team battle, the King Moss Mountain base elite group members will kill their way to the high ground of the Menglongton base, and all the orange-equipped high damage output will not take too long to blow up their crystal pillars. Under Fan Wenji's instructions, the cannon fodders of the King Moss Mountain base did not follow the light spot, but ran around in their own high ground and the positions below the high ground. Although the audience and opponents saw them ran around, their routes were actually irregular. Before their health points were automatically deducted in 20 seconds, they completely lit up the map of a large area of positions above and below the high ground of the King Moss Mountain base in the friendly army's vision. At this time, another team battle between the King Moss Mountain base and the Menglongton base began. This time, the team battle took place in the wild area of the King Moss Mountain base, near the middle point between the first and second towers in the middle lane. It's time. Looking at the extremely complicated map in front of him where the friendly cannon fodder and the opponent's cannon fodder were running around, a route map automatically appeared in Jin Ke's mind. After the cheat showed Jin Ke's superb map calculation ability at the recruit training center last time, Jin Ke also deliberately strengthened his training in this area, and finally it was time to use it. Of course, if you want to succeed, you still need a certain amount of luck. However, the consequence of failure is that you can't win and expose your tactical intentions. Once you succeed, you can end this protracted game. It was too late. Jin condensed 18 energy runes around him in 2.5 seconds, but he didn't form a formation to condense the fireball, and rushed out of the fountain with full health and energy. After killing the cannon fodder from the fierce dragon pool who rushed to the high ground and approached the crystal column with death charge and death cut, Jin Ke's all-skill cooldowns were refreshed. He used death charge and death cut to kill another cannon fodder from the fierce dragon pool on the high ground, and the cooldowns of all skills were refreshed again. Because of his speed, coupled with the crushing advantage of equipment, these cannon fodders had no time to react and died under his dagger. Every time he killed an opponent's cannon fodder, Jin quickly checked the distribution of the opponent's cannon fodder in the game map in front of him. Relying on extremely accurate calculations, he only occasionally took a few steps during the period, and in most cases he used the opponent's cannon fodder to teleport forward. It only took about 10 seconds for Jin to rush forward alone, kill 12 Menglongton cannon fodders in succession, and kill from the spring to a place less than 200 meters away from the team battlefield. Zhang Jun and his 5 people, who had just fought with Fan Wenji and his 4 people and focused on the fierce battle, only then discovered through the vision of their own cannon fodder that Jin Ke, who had been staying in the spring to guard the crystal column, had quietly sneaked towards the team battle scene. Everyone, don't panic, don't fall into his trap. Before Zhang Jun finished speaking, he heard Jin Ke recite a spell that they were very familiar with. Haryujin. At the same time, Jin Ke pushed with both hands, and a fireball slightly larger than a basketball flew towards them like a missile, dragging along light and shadow. Fuck, what's going on? Zhang Jun cursed. Shouldn't this fireball spell be used out of the high ground? How did it get to the middle line? What made Zhang Jun even more angry and desperate was that he found that the fireball was coming towards him. In a flash, Zhang Jun quickly used the displacement skill to escape in a direction away from his teammates. Because he had already seen that this fireball spell was explosive damage, and the range of influence was relatively large, he had to lead this fireball away, otherwise it would be very likely that the whole team would be wiped out. Just when Zhang Jun's first displacement skill ended and he was about to launch the second displacement, the fireball had already hit the Tangao Biao, who was standing slightly behind him just now, and a large group of fireworks exploded. At the same time, a 50,000 damage value appeared above Zhao Biao's head, and he was directly hung back to the base. Chapter 285 Thinking About Life. This fireball was not aimed at the strongest Zhang Jun as he imagined, but at the Tangao Biao behind him. Unfortunately, except for Zhang Jun who escaped from the center of the explosion and suffered only a few thousand points of damage, the mages, shooters, and warriors gathered around the tanks in the Menglongton base all suffered up to 25,000 damage. Then, the mages and shooters followed their tank Biao back to the base resurrection point. 2 consecutive kills, 3 consecutive wins. The avatars of the killed were the tanks, mages, and shooters of the elite group of the Menglongton base. The murderers were all shown as Jin Ke's avatars. 15 layers of death marks, just full. The warrior Xiao Long, who had extremely thick armor and blood volume, was also affected by the fireball explosion and was blown to residual blood. Yao Chengzu used a freezing spell to freeze Xiao Long in place, and Li Zheng's energy gun swept fiercely and an energy bomb hit Xiao Long's blood volume below 1,000 points. "Let go of that handsome guy. Let me do it," Jin Ke shouted loudly, and had already arrived more than 10 meters away from the team battle site. Fan Wenji, Ran Maqiang, Yao Chengzu, and Li Zheng stopped attacking Xiao Long obediently and tacitly. After Jin Ke approached, he threw 15 layers of death marks at Xiao Long, because Xiao Long had no companions or cannon fodder around him. All 15 layers of death marks were superimposed on him alone. More than 1,000 points of damage instantly sent him back to the resurrection point of the Menglongton base to meet up with the tanks, mages, and shooters in their team. 4 Company Extraordinary. The avatars of the killed were Xiao Long, a soldier of the Menglongton base elite group. The killing party showed Jin Ke's avatar. In a moment, only the captain Zhang Jun was left among the 5 elites of the Menglongton base, and he was half healthy. Zhang Jun, who was half dead, looked at everything here, resisted the urge to rush over to kill Jin Ke, and turned around and fled back to his own base. If he took action at this time, he felt that he had at least 60% chance of killing Jin Ke in the enemy crowd. However, after killing Jin Ke, he could not escape, and he would be instantly killed by Fan Wenji and the other 4. For the overall situation, he must rush back to the base to defend against the full-scale attack that was about to begin at the King Mo's mountain base. "Charge! You don't need my command to fight next," Jin Ke roared. "No need. If we can't take it down, we don't have to mix with it." Fan Wenji, Ran Maqiang and others replied to Jin Ke, and strode towards the high ground of the Menglongton base with great heroism. In the previous battle, all the turrets of the Menglongton base had been blown up. The 5 elites of King Mo's mountain, wearing a full set of orange gear, killed all the cannon fodders in the Menglongton base instantly. Especially Jin Ke, when facing a group of cannon fodders, he fully utilized the advantages of the assassin profession. The other teammates took on the skills and output of the cannon fodders, and he went forward to mow down the grass with death assault and death cut. Without encountering any decent resistance along the way, the 5 elites quickly attacked the high ground of the Menglongton base. Zhang Jun had already filled up his blood and energy in the fountain behind the base, and led a group of cannon fodders to wait for battle. However, his eyes were sad and his heart was desperate. In the tour, no matter how strong he was, he could not compete with the 5 elites with complete professional combinations on the opposite side. When the 5 elites of the other side took the cannon fodder to the high ground and prepared to push the crystal, as the only assassin, he could not retreat and could only bravely face them. Facing them head-on would be like committing suicide. The tanks and warriors of the other side, who were full of orange gear, armor and blood volume that was so thick that all assassins would feel sick, would teach him how to behave. He could try to use his displacement skills to forcibly cut the back row, and perhaps have a chance to kill the opponent's assassin, shooter, or mage, but no matter which one he chooses to kill, after killing one person, he can't think of leaving alive. The opponent's various control skills will firmly control him to death. However, Zhang Jun is different from ordinary assassins in that after his sword array skill is activated, his main body cannot be attacked. After the sword array ends, he can move back again. However, this skill cannot kill the opponent's mage and shooter who are wearing a full set of orange equipment, and it is not very helpful for him to defend the crystal column. During his sword array, the opponent can completely escape the range of his sword array and forcibly attack the crystal column. Even if the crystal column has a health of up to hundreds of thousands, it is still not enough to fight against the 5 elites in full orange equipment. For example, Li Zheng, who is in full orange equipment, has a very explosive output damage now. Each sweep of the energy gun can knock off thousands of points of damage to the crystal column. A critical hit is over 10,000 damage, according to her output speed. Even if she attacks the crystal column alone, it will only take tens of seconds to blow up the crystal column, but it would take several minutes for several teammates at Menglongton base to revive. It was a losing game. Zhang Jun stood by the fountain, watching the 5 elites at King Mo's mountain base slashing at the crystal pillars, but he didn't move for several seconds. He was not thinking about life, but thinking about what else he could do now. Once he decided to attack and rushed over, he was killed by concentrated fire in just a few seconds. It was impossible to defend the crystal pillar. The audience became extremely quiet. It was originally thought that Menglongton base would win this game without suspense, and even end the battle within half an hour. Unexpectedly, Menglongton base failed to end the battle within half an hour. It was originally thought that Zhang Jun, the second-ranked assassin in the entire Green Plains shelter, would have at least won 5 consecutive peerless and would kill Jin Ke at least 3 times or even more. I really didn't expect Jin Ke to use the method of lying in the fountain to make Zhang Jun's 5 consecutive peerless a fantasy. Zhang Jun didn't even kill Jin Ke once. It was originally thought that Jin Ke was scared this time and admitted defeat directly by lying in the fountain. I never thought that he would perform another 5 consecutive worlds, plus a 4 consecutive extraordinary. Now, the King Moss mountain base is actually going to win. Unprecedentedly defeated the bitter enemy Menglongton and made it into the top 4 of the tour. Zhang Jun finally moved. He rushed towards Jin Ke and with 2 consecutive displacement skills. Even if he lost, he had to kill Jin Ke once. Otherwise, this game would be too disgusting to lose. But just when he rushed to Jin Ke's vicinity and was about to put down the sword formation and use several skills to kill Jin Ke, Jin Ke disappeared from the spot. It was obvious that Jin Ke's attention had always been on Zhang Jun. As long as Zhang Jun moved, he immediately activated the Death Shadow skill, and after being invisible, he was in a state where he could not be attacked. In this world, you are not the only one who has a skill that cannot be attacked. Jin Ke did not forget to discuss Zhang Jun a few words on the public channel. Chapter 286, Strength Slap in the Face. Fuck. In addition to the fireball, he also has an invisibility skill. Zhang Jun was furious, and even more desperate. Could it be that before losing, the wish to kill Jin Ke once could not be fulfilled? In this moment of hesitation, the 4 elites of King Moss Mountain who had been attacking the crystal column suddenly gave up the attack on the crystal column, and all kinds of skills were fired at Zhang Jun. Li Zheng's energy cannon bombarded. Zhang Jun was dizzy, and immediately used the purification to remove the dizziness debuff on his body. Ran Maqian caught up a few steps and rushed forward with a strong blunt attack. Zhang Jun was dizzy again, and relied on the dispel skill on his equipment to remove the dizziness debuff on his body again. Fan Wenji used a ground shock skill, and Zhang Jun was dizzy again. There was no way to dispel, so he could only be dizzy. The 4 elites focused their fire and quickly reduced the health of the dizzy Zhang Jun to a residual amount, and then accurately hit it to about 2000. Zhang Jun was freed from his dizzy state and was about to flee back to the fountain when Yao Chengzu threw a freezing skill at him at the perfect time, freezing him down by more than 1000 horsepower and freezing him in place. 5 against 1. Abuse him as much as you want. After making sure that Zhang Jun's HP had also dropped below 1000, the 4 elites stopped their attacks tacitly. This honor should of course belong to their hero Jin Ke. Coincidentally, it's time to set off firecrackers again. Jin Ke returned to the scene and threw 15 death marks on Zhang Jun, 5 consecutive peerless. A ball of fireworks rose above the arena. Amid the celebratory sound similar to the sound of firecrackers, the fireworks typed the words 5 consecutive peerless for the second time in this game. Do you think I can't do 5 consecutive peerless again? Here's a 5 consecutive peerless for you to see. Do you think I can't do 5 consecutive peerless twice like in the last game? Then let's do 5 consecutive peerless again. In the tour, there is nothing that can't be solved by a single 5 consecutive worlds. If there is, Then do it twice. The audience in the stands, who had been calm all the time, were furious. They all saw that the reason why the Manglongton base lost this game was because of Jin Ke's fireball technique. The skill of this magical cannon fodder is too buggy, isn't it? In the previous tour, I have never heard of anyone whose skill attack distance can exceed 50 meters. This one is almost 200 meters, right? It covers the entire high ground, and it kills everyone it sees. How can they fight? Especially the fireball that turned the tide just now. It flew to the midline. With one fireball, 4 members of the Manglongton elite group died together. Only Zhang Jun, who was half-blood, escaped. Is this a fair tour? The audience in the stands who were waiting to see Jin Ke's jokes were all stunned. Especially some middle-level leaders who were unhappy with Jin Ke felt very uncomfortable. This new student actually won again. After he won last time, he was promoted and killed people, and he didn't take these old leaders and old employees seriously at all. They thought he would definitely lose this game, and they had enough reasons to let Fan Wenji give him a good look. In the end, King Tai Mountain Base won. He completed 5 consecutive peerless again. Fan Wenji will praise him to the sky. Those who said bad things about him behind his back will have a hard time. Under the continuous attack of the 5 elites of King Tai Mountain Base and a group of cannon fodder, the crystal column of Manglongton Base bang turned into a huge firework. The exploding crystal column instantly illuminated the entire stadium, dazzling everyone's eyes. After the afterglow faded, a huge King Tai Mountain Base victory fireworks spanner appeared above the stadium and lingered for a long time. This game was finally dominated by Jin Ke. Although Manglongton Base analyzed Jin Ke's characteristics very thoroughly before the game, almost stripped Jin Ke naked and presented him to them, but they still lost. They never expected that Jin Ke actually had a backup plan. The big fireball that rushed out of the spring water had a damage value of 50,000. He killed one in 3 seconds, and he was still playing with others. At the end, Zhang Jun wanted to kill Jin Ke once to save face, but he encountered Jin Ke's stealth skill, which made Zhang Jun's generous death and only seeking a kill become extremely stupid. He gave the opponent an extra 5 consecutive worlds. After a moment of dead silence, thousands of spectators in King Mo's mountain stood up and cheered for a long time. The silent majority applauded their heroes with pride. Thousands of spectators in Manglongton sat silently in their seats without moving. They finally understood how the spectators in the first round of Mang Base felt. It was their misfortune to meet an opponent like Jin Ke. My fault. Zhang Jun kept shaking his head. He had figured out what was going on with Jin Ke's fireball that was close to the center line. If they didn't kill through the center line and kept defending their own positions, it would be difficult for the King Mo's mountain base to have such an opportunity. As a result, he ignored this step, resulting in 4 teammates being killed. He watched the crystal column explode alone. It's meaningless to continue dragging on a game that we can't win no matter what. It's better to lose early and get out early. Soldier Xiao Long comforted Zhang Jun. We encountered a bug. It's not embarrassing to lose to the bug. Shooter Wu Kaiheng also spoke. We are still honorable in defeat. Mage Chen Lu also spoke. Captain, don't be discouraged. We are not the only one who is unlucky. I bet the rules of this game will definitely be changed. Otherwise we can't play the next game, and other participating teams will protest to the organizing committee. Tank Yi Biao also comforted Zhang Jun. Okay, losing to the magical cannon fodder, there's nothing to say. Zhang Jun adjusted his mood. If Mang Base had not been defeated twice by the 5 consecutive worlds, the elites of Manglongton Base would have been furious. Moreover, this game lasted for more than 3 hours. The key is that during these 3 hours, they already knew the outcome. It was impossible for them to win, and they had long lost interest in the game. Losing was also a kind of relief. The game was over. King Tai Mountain Base was full of jubilation and celebration, with lights and decorations everywhere, which was more lively and festive than the last round when they won against Mang Base. But in this jubilation, many people had embarrassment on their faces. Jin Ke, who had been cursed by them for a whole week, once again slapped them in the face with his strength. Didn't you say that you can't win 5 consecutive worlds again? Then I'll give you 2 more 5 consecutive worlds. Didn't you say that King Tai Mountain Base must lose this game? Then I'll win another game to shut up your rotten mouths. Just ask if your face is swollen. Does it hurt? King Tai Mountain Base held another post-match commendation meeting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This commendation meeting was a general meeting of all employees, attended by thousands of people, and was held in the sports stadium of the base. Chapter 287 Trust Your People. Meeting site. Thousands of people were seated in the hall. There was a huge three-dimensional projection of the rostrum above the venue, so no matter where you sit, you can clearly see everything on the rostrum and hear the speech on the rostrum. First of all, I want to announce something. Fan Wenji spoke. The middle-level managers in the base who were unhappy with Jin Ke looked at Fan Wenji with a gloomy look. Seeing Fan Wenji so excited, they knew that it must be time for them to envy and hate him again. There is no way. Who made them misjudge? Jin Ke is really too powerful, far beyond their expectations. After investigation, the base found that Zheng Shidao and Jin Ke did not transport insect corpses from outside. All this was a conspiracy and frame up by Luo Ye. After the senior leaders of the base studied it, they unanimously decided to cancel all punishments on Zheng Shidao and Jin Ke. To clear their names, Fan Wenji announced a few words loudly. The unanimous decision after the senior leaders studied it. Well, Director Fan, whatever you say is what it is, Zhang Daxiu muttered weakly. When she was facing Luo Ye, she could have refuted and cursed him if she felt unhappy. Now it was Jin Ke who changed. This guy stopped cursing and went straight to killing people. Other middle-level leaders and base employees who were unhappy with Zheng Shidao and Jin Ke were also talking about it. Didn't they say that there was video evidence and witnesses when the verdict was made? Now it was denied with just one sentence. Luo Ye was dead anyway, so Fan Wenji could say whatever he wanted. Today, King Tai Mountain Base won a historic victory over last season's champion, the extremely powerful Menglongton Base. Director Jin of the Security Department made the first contribution. After research and unanimous decision by the senior leaders of the base, it was decided to award the permanent residence right of dormitory number 18 to Director Jin. Fan Wenji announced the first reward. There was a dead silence in the audience. They had thought of this reward a long time ago and were not surprised at all. It was originally agreed that if they lost the game, Jin Ke would be kicked out of dormitory number 18. Now that they won the game, and they won it under Jin Ke's command and after getting 5 consecutive wins, it's not surprising that dormitory number 18 was awarded to him, and it's hard not to accept it. It's just that Jin Ke is not a senior member of the base, but he enjoys the dormitory treatment that only senior members of the base can have, which makes people feel a little awkward. In view of the great contribution made by Director Jin to the base, after research and unanimous decision by the senior members of the base, Director Jin of the Security Department will be promoted to Deputy Director of the base. Enjoy the treatment of senior members of the base. The relevant documents have been submitted to the Human Resources Department of the Green Plains Shelter for review. Under normal circumstances, there will be a formal appointment letter next week. Fan Wenji announced another thing. Damn, is this possible? He became a high-level leader of the base at a rocket-like speed. It's over. We will all be under his control from now on. What should I do? I have been saying bad things about him for several days. You are dead. He said that anyone who says bad things about him behind his back should be killed. Another Luo Ye has appeared. Fan Wenji, aren't you afraid of raising a tiger to cause trouble? Some middle-level leaders in the base who were unhappy with Jin Ke began to whisper. Thousands of ordinary employees in the base were also talking about it. They really didn't expect that a new trainee who had just entered the base for less than 4 months would actually sit in the position of deputy director of the base at a rocket-like speed. There was no way. The strength was there. They had to accept it even if they were not convinced. After becoming a high-level leader of the base, the high-level meeting of the base had the power of 1 vote. At the same time, they also had the immunity of not being as guilty as the high-level leaders. If there was a crime, the other high-level leaders of the base discussed and decided not to report it to the shelter. The matter would be suppressed, and the Green Plains shelter would not deal with it according to the principle of no prosecution by the people. The high-level leaders of the base had the power to rent any weapons and equipment from the base equipment department for free. Of course, it is limited to 1 set. For example, if you take a better weapon, You must return the weapon previously rented from the base equipment department. This is equivalent to Fan Wenji giving a better reward than the orange suit Pure Heart and purple suit Sprinter in the last tour, because this means that no matter how many attributes Jin Ke reaches in the future, he can borrow the best weapons and equipment in the current inventory from the base equipment library for free. In addition, the identity card of the base senior management has the right to go to any area of the base except the base main brain equipment area, and no one can refuse for any reason. The base senior management is equipped with a full-time nanny at home and has personal guards when traveling. In addition, all the middle-level managers and ordinary employees of the base must nod and greet the senior management of the base when they see them on the road, and their attitude must be respectful. Otherwise they may be punished for violating the etiquette of public places. Those middle-level personnel and ordinary employees who are unhappy with Jin Ke will have to restrain themselves in the future, otherwise Jin Ke can use public power for private purposes and punish them directly. After Jin Ke helped the base win the quarterfinals, Fan Wenji gave him all the rewards within his authority. After Jin Ke became the deputy director of the base and a senior leader of the base, Fan Wenji was no longer worried about his loyalty to the base. It was like starting a company and giving a few % of the shares to an employee. Are you still afraid that the employee will change jobs? Fan Wenji's management may have many other flaws, but in terms of trusting people, he is unmatched by anyone else in the base. After the last round of the tour, many people still questioned Jin Ke, spread rumors about him behind his back, wanted to see him laugh, and even waited for Jin Ke to beat him up after he failed in this round. But obviously, after this round of the tour, they completely gave up this idea. Jin Ke is already an inviolable and unshakable senior leader of the base. Although it was just a submission of an application, this kind of application is generally just a formality, and the shelter will not interfere too much in the appointment and removal of personnel in the base below. Manager Jin, I hope that the base will become more prosperous and stronger under our joint management in the future. You must have something to say to everyone, right? Please invite Manager Jin to the stage to give a speech. Everyone applaud. Fan Wenji made a gesture of invitation to Jin Ke, and then took the lead in applauding. Thank you, Manager Fan, for your trust in me and for your exceptional promotion. Jin Ke will remember this kindness in his heart. Jin Ke was also a little surprised by Fan Wenji's appointment. He was somewhat unhappy with Fan Wenji in his heart about the scapegoat incident, but after this incident, he can really let go of the past grudges. Fan Wenji, Ran Makian and others smiled and nodded to Jin Ke, then applauded. Then other senior executives of the base followed suit, whether they were reluctant or not, and soon thousands of employees in the audience also applauded together. Chapter 288, Complete Silence. But I know very well that my standing here, standing in this position, makes a small number of people here feel very unhappy. Jin Ke stretched out his hand and made a downward gesture, then glanced at the middle-level leaders of the base and thousands of employees. The whole place became extremely quiet. Normal people would not stand out at this time and be remembered by Jin Ke. Chan Bin, the captain of the North District who stood out in the security department last time, died on the spot under Jin Ke's orange dagger, and even his head was cut off. At that time, Jin Ke was only the nominal deputy director of the security department and had no control over them. Moreover, they believed that Jin Ke would fall very quickly after rushing so high, and would be beaten back to his original form after the second round of the tour. As a result, Jin Ke did not fall, but climbed higher. No, I was wrong just now. It's not that some people are upset, but some rubbish are upset. Some rubbish are upset with me, and they are inexplicably upset. For a hero like me who has made such a great contribution to the base, a super strong man, some rubbish. What qualifications do you have to be upset with me? You spread all kinds of rumors about me, right? Saying that I molest middle-aged and elderly women, stealing young ladies' underwear, wantonly ruining my reputation? There was a burst of laughter and whispers from the audience. Do you know that making and spreading rumors is also a crime? Jin Ke's face was murderous. The scene suddenly became quiet. Can I say a few words? Among the middle-level leaders, Li Hu, the director of the ecological park, suddenly picked up the microphone in front of him and stood up. Jin Ke looked over coldly. He didn't expect that someone would dare to challenge him face to face at this time. Manager Jin, I know you want to be the second Luo Ye. Manager Luo's unfortunate death gave you this opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. After taking the position of deputy manager of the security department, you deliberately imitated everything about Luo Ye, the way he acted, the way he spoke, the way he managed. You were eager to make yourself reach Luo Ye's level in the eyes of others, and even shamelessly called yourself a strong man. But, you are too pretentious. You are pretending to be an idiot. Your pretentious behavior is like that of a jumping clown. You are really far worse than Manager Luo, so far worse. If he hadn't passed away in an accident, you would never be able to reach his level, and you would never be able to surpass him. If Manager Luo were still alive, he could scare the shit out of you with just one word. He could kill you with just one finger. I know that what I said makes you very upset, but, even if you kill me in public today, it can't change the facts I just said. It can't change the impression of you by thousands of people present. Even if you have half of Luo Ye's strength, I still respect you as a man. But, do you have it? You are not even 1/10 as good as him. You can only bully the weak. When you meet a real hero like Luo Ye, you are directly scared to death. You are so scared that you dare not breathe. You can only kneel and lick. Do you dare to deny what I said? Do you dare to deny it? Li Hua didn't wait for Jin Ke to agree, picked up the microphone and started talking. After Li Hua finished a bunch of words, the scene suddenly exploded, and thousands of people started talking loudly. Luo Ye, Luo Ye, Luo Ye, Luo Ye. Some of Luo Ye's remnants, some middle-level leaders who were unhappy with Jin Ke, and ordinary employees at the scene shouted Luo Ye's name together, obviously mocking Jin Ke collectively. When Luo Ye was alive, why didn't you dare to fart? If Luo Ye had not died, how could you, Jin Ke, be so excited today? Luo Ye is your hero. You think he is invincible, right? Jin Ke smiled instead of getting angry. He looked at Li Hua and asked him a few questions. Yes, he is a mountain that you can never cross. Want to learn from him? You don't deserve it. Li Hua answered Jin Ke loudly. Luo Ye, Luo Ye, Luo Ye, Luo Ye. The voices shouting Luo Ye's name at the scene became louder and louder. Some people even showed fanatical expressions in their eyes when they shouted, just like devout believers who had been brainwashed. In their minds, Luo Ye is a real strong man and an invincible god of war. Jin Ke, you are a jumping clown. How dare you call yourself a strong man? How dare you compare yourself with him? Okay, let me show you a video so that you can remember your former hero. Jin Ke waved his hand, and a 3D video was projected above the conference room through the 3D playback equipment on site. Little beast, you are too young to kill me. Luo Ye struggled out of the green mist, raised his head and threw a bottle of red medicine into his mouth. With a bleeding debuff and a poisoning debuff on his head, he released a short knife-type powerful attack skill with a ferocious face. Break the universe. The sea-level purple short knife in Luo Ye's hand transformed into countless knife shadows, as if it was installed on a 4,000 revolutions per minute impact drill, twisting madly and rushing towards the direction where Jin Ke was standing. Wherever he passed, gold and stone were broken. Jin Ke stretched out his left hand, and a staff with an orange glow appeared on his palm. At the same time, Jin Ke's body turned into a light shadow again and appeared behind Luo Ye. Supercritical damage, penetrate the heart, super kill end. Luo Ye, you are worthy of being a great hero, but it's a pity that you still died in my hands. Jin Ke slowly pulled the bloody alien claws out of Luo Ye's body and pushed Luo Ye's body to the ground. After watching this video and seeing this video of Jin killing Luo Ye with his own hands, thousands of employees at the scene were silent, all with expressions of shock that made their brains dazed. Fan Wenji, Ran Maqian, Yao Chengzu, Li Zheng, Zhang Daxiu and others also widened their eyes with expressions of disbelief. They originally thought that Luo Ye had played too much with alien insects and killed himself, but they really didn't expect that Luo Ye, the 5th-ranked assassin in the entire Green Plains shelter, was actually killed by Jin Ke. Jin Ke, you are playing bigger and bigger. Every time I am scared by you. Zhu Shu, Liu Zhu, Yu Gang and others were also dumbfounded. They really didn't expect Jin Ke to publish this scene. The people who had just shouted Luo Ye all looked ashen now. The real strong man and the invincible god of war in their minds did not die accidentally, but died at the hands of Jin Ke, whom they looked down upon. This is impossible, impossible, absolutely impossible. Li Hua's face turned blue and red. It was such a slap in the face. Just now, she said that Jin Ke only bullied the weak, and when he met a real hero like Luo Ye, he was directly scared out of his wits, so scared that he dared not even breathe, and could only kneel and lick his ass. She also said that Luo Ye was a mountain that Jin could never cross, but in the end, Luo Ye was defeated by Jin Ke and killed by Jin Ke himself. Chapter 289 Will and Determination. I only bully the weak? It seems that your hero Luo Ye is also considered weak in your hearts? Jin Ke mocked Li Hua and the group of people who shouted Luo Ye. The scene was extremely quiet. The group of people who just shouted Luo Ye and the remnants of Luo Ye were now completely desperate. The last bit of stubbornness and persistence in their hearts had quietly collapsed at this time. All those who are dissatisfied with me, how do you think you are better than Luo Ye? Jin Ke looked around the venue. Before Jin Ke replaced Luo Ye, he would not make this matter public. That would cause public outrage from Fan Wenji and all the employees who hoped that King Mo's mountain base could make it to the top 4 in this quarter's tour. He didn't need to make himself a public enemy, but now it's different. The goal of the top 4 in the tour has been achieved, and it was achieved with his help. His position in the hearts of Fan Wenji and the senior executives of the base, including the ordinary members who have great hope for the strength of King Mo's mountain, has surpassed Luo Ye. It's time to tell everyone that Luo Ye's era is over. From now on, it's Jin Ke's era. And it's also time to tell everyone that I, Jin Ke, don't need anyone to support me from behind. With my strength, I can still sit in my current position. Don't agree? Come and challenge me. You are the supervisor of the ecological park, right? Your name is Li Hua. Okay, I'll remember you. I won't kill you now, but I will investigate you. I'll give some people here one day. All those who have spread rumors about me and all those who have viciously attacked me behind my back, please take the initiative to go to the security department to confess your crimes and turn yourself in. I will decide on your punishment based on your attitude of confessing your crimes. It's 3:15 p.m. now. Let's round it up and count it as 3 p.m. I, on behalf of the security department of the base, will make an announcement. From now until 3 p.m. tomorrow, the entire base will be under martial law, except for senior personnel. No one is allowed to leave the base without my consent. Before 3 p.m. tomorrow, all rumor-mongers, please take the initiative to go to the security department to confess your crimes and turn yourself in. I will give you lenient treatment. After 3 p.m. tomorrow, if you don't go to the security department to confess your crimes, don't blame me for turning my back on you. At that time, I will hold another general meeting of all staff. In troubled times, severe punishments should be imposed. If I verify that he is the ringleader who spread the rumors, but he doesn't confess and turn himself in, kill him. No, pardon. Jin Ke suddenly thrust an orange dagger into the table in front of him. The entire scene was also played out in the three-dimensional virtual projection above the podium. In addition, if you know who is spreading rumors around you, or who is maliciously attacking your heroes, you can tell me through private messages. Once the report is verified to be true, I will reward the reporter with 1,000 to 50,000 contribution points depending on the reliability of the evidence. Director Fan appointed me as the deputy director of the base and the director of the security department. This is a trust in me. I must fulfill my duties and do a good job in the security of the base. Investigating this rumor incident is the first fire I have started after officially taking office. In the future, I will let you gradually feel my will and determination. The security department is the police department of the base and the armed forces of the base. For the safety of the base, for the base to have a good security environment, and for everyone to be positive and full of positive energy, I, Jin Ke, swear to fight all evil forces and criminals to the end. I have finished speaking. Jin Ke walked down from the rostrum and returned to his seat. The whole audience was extremely quiet. After a long while, they applauded under the leadership of Fan Wenji and others. Spreading rumors is really abominable. In the past, rumors were often spread in the base, which caused a very bad influence. However, because there was no thorough investigation. The atmosphere became worse and worse. I support Director Jin's governance of rumors. At the same time, I urge those who spread rumors against Director Jin to go to the security department as soon as possible to admit their mistakes and strive for lenient treatment. After Fan Wenji returned to the rostrum, he emphasized a few more words to everyone, and at the same time expressed his position on this matter. The rumors have been spreading too crazy recently. I support Director Jin's governance work. After the meeting, Fan Wenji and other senior leaders held another small meeting, and Fan Wenji expressed his attitude to Jin Ke. In fact, before Jin Ke helped King Tai Mountain Base defeat Menglongton Base in the second round of the tour, he also heard many rumors and malicious attacks on Jin Ke and the base, and he just laughed it off at the time. Looking back now, it is indeed not right to slander a hero who has made such a great contribution to the base. I was promoted from a new employee to a senior manager of the base so quickly. There must be many people who are dissatisfied. It is not surprising that they spread rumors and slander me, but I will not let this trend continue. This is also the first step for me, as the head of the security department, to manage the security work of the base. Jin Ke looked indifferent. In this tour, you helped the base defeat powerful opponents and led the base to the semi-finals. You have made a great contribution to the base. It is normal to be promoted to a senior executive of the base. By the way, I have something else to discuss with you, Fan Wenji mentioned to Jin Ke. Manager Fan, you say something. You helped the base win another round of the tour this time, and you have made a great contribution to the base. As the base manager, the reward I can give you is to promote you to the deputy manager of the base. For you now, the most important thing may be the permanent potion that increases the 10 attributes. But the base only has 5 bottles in stock, so I don't have much material rewards to give you for the time being. However, I have an opportunity here that can allow you to win a bigger reward. I wonder if you are interested? Fan Wenji looked at Jin Ke. Well, tell me about it. It's like this. The Green Plains Shelter holds a challenge for each profession every year. In addition to deciding the top 10 in each profession and giving them rewards, there will also be a newcomer challenge, allowing newcomers who join the shelter within a year to compete for the title of the newcomer king of each profession. In 2 weeks, after the tour is over, the newcomer king competition will begin. Each base will send the best of each profession among the newcomers of the year to the Green Plains base for training and compete for the title of the newcomer king of each profession. Chapter 290 Resurrection. The rookie king of each profession, including the top 10 rookies of each profession who enter the final competition, will be rewarded handsomely by the top management of the shelter. Last year, the rookie king of each profession received a potion that can directly awaken a designated powerful skill, a potion that permanently improves basic attributes, and 200,000 energy points as rewards. I remember that last year's rookie king of assassins chose a skill potion called Purification. After awakening this skill, the assassin can effectively remove the debuff on his body after being controlled, thus escaping from danger and avoiding life-threatening situations. The top 10 rookies of each profession will also receive valuable rewards. These rewards are only temporary. Once you become the rookie king of each profession in the shelter will provide these rookie kings with abundant training resources. More professional training facilities will allow these rookie kings to improve their 10 qualities faster and enhance their own strength faster. With your strength, I think it will be no problem for you to enter the top 10 of the assassin profession rookie king, and you may even have the strength to compete for the title of the assassin profession rookie king. These rewards are a waste for you. I am going to give you one of the 5 places for the assassin profession in the rookie king competition given to us by the shelter. What do you think? Fan Wenji told Jin Ke's idea. Sure. Jin Ke agreed, of course. For him now, it is almost time to leave the novice village of King Moss Mountain Base and go to a wider place for training. The reward of the assassin rookie king is of course a waste. Awakening one more skill is equivalent to taking an extra insurance for your life safety. Base Ecological Park. Manager Lee, should we surrender to the security department? An ordinary employee named Chen Ji asked his manager Li Hua. Why do we have to surrender? Li Hua shook his head, revealing a sinister look. Although this man is called Li Hua, he is actually a man in his 20s, with long hair, white skin, and effeminate. Most of the rumors about Jin Ke were made up by you and spread from us. If the security department investigates, they will probably find us in the end. Chen Ji was very worried. What if they find us? I won't be in the base tomorrow. Can the little beast still chase me to the Green Plains shelter and kill me? Li Hua looked indifferent. Li Hua and Chen Bin, the captain of the North District security team, have an improper and undisclosed lover relationship. Chen Bin is Luo Xiaotian's confidant. Jin killed Chen Bin in public, which made Li Hua hate him. However, he couldn't do anything to Jin Ke with his ability, so he could only make up all kinds of rumors about Jin Ke behind his back and encourage those middle-level managers who were dissatisfied with Jin Ke to attack Jin Ke maliciously. It can be said that 80% of the various false rumors about Jin Ke in the base were made up by Li Hua and then spread. Many rumors were taken as true as they were spread, which caused great damage to Jin Ke's reputation. The base has issued a martial law order and is completely closed. You are only allowed to enter but not leave before 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. This time, the security department will make real efforts to verify the source of the rumor. If you don't surrender, he might go crazy and kill people in public again. Chen Ji was a little uneasy. Only in, not out, right? Humphrey, I have made an appointment with my lover to pick me up at the base tomorrow. My lover is not easy to mess with. It's not certain who will kill whom by then. Li Hua stroked a couple ring on her finger with a disdainful look on her face. Are you talking about Mr. Zhao from the Zhao family in the shelter? Chen Ji is Li Hua's confidant. He often goes to the Green Plains shelter with Li Hua to do some procurement work for the ecological park. He is very familiar with the people Li Hua is dating. The last time he and Li Hua went to the Green Plains shelter, Li Hua and this Zhao had been flirting for a long time. It was obvious that Zhao and Li Hua were people of the same kind. Zhao was soon fascinated by Li Hua. The speed of their development has exceeded Chen Ji's imagination. Mr. Zhao, are you coming tomorrow? Great. We really don't need to pay attention to the threats of that little beast. You must take me with you when the time comes. I have wanted to leave this damn place for a long time. Chen Ji showed a flattering look to Li Hua. My little sweetheart. Of course I can't bear to leave you here alone. Li Hua's hand touched a certain part of Chen Ji's body. Mysterious Castle. After finishing the tour, the commendation meeting and dinner, Jin Ke finally had time to return to dormitory number 18. After taking safety measures, he asked Zhang Mengdai to teleport him to the mysterious castle. Do you want to play games tonight? It's not forced. If you want to play, play. If you don't want to play, rest. Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai. Okay, I have nothing to do tonight. Zhang Mengdai answered Jin Ke. I'm going to take you out of this house to explore. Jin Ke looked in the direction of the gate. It's great to have you with me. The monsters outside are too powerful. I have died several times, Zhang Mengdai said happily. You went out by yourself, and you died several times? Jin Ke was very angry and surprised. He was angry that Zhang Mengdai didn't listen to him and went out without permission. He was surprised that she died several times. Once the character in this game dies, there is no way to revive. How could she die several times? I didn't go out. I just stood at the gate and looked outside. Then a monster came. It could emit lightning and killed me in a few hits. Zhang Mengdai explained to Jin Ke. Don't you know how to cast fireball? Didn't you use fireball to attack it? Jin Ke frowned. I attacked it, but it didn't seem to have any effect. By the way, you said you died several times. How did you revive? Jin Ke felt that he should pay more attention to this issue. If Zhang Mengdai can be resurrected, doesn't it mean that he can also find a way to revive? After my character died, my mobile phone screen became pitch black, and then the system prompted me whether to revive. I confirmed it, and then I was resurrected from another energy cabin in the basement. Zhang Mengdai explained a few words. Energy capsules in the basement? Those 20 or so energy capsules? Jin Ke walked towards the stairs of the basement. The two of them went down to the basement together. There was an energy capsule that was open, but it was not the empty energy capsule that Jin Ke saw when he came down a few days ago. After my character came out of the other energy capsule and went to the gate, I could see the body of the previously dead character. After touching the body, The system prompted me to carry the body back to the basement and put it in the energy capsule where it was previously. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291 Clone. After putting it in, the energy chamber closed automatically. The console showed that the repair program was being started. The character that died first has been repaired. Zhang Mengdai pointed at the console and continued to explain to Jin Ke. In other words, all the people lying in these more than 20 energy chambers are you? Jin Ke looked around and felt a little cold for some reason. I don't know either. Zhang Mengdai shook his head. Jin Ke looked at the console and pondered. This cute girl must have a big problem. She is not an ordinary player. There are many things about her that are beyond the rules of the game, especially the fact that the game character can be resurrected after death, which is completely different from other players. Even if Jin Ke knows the principle of her resurrection now, he can't copy the process, because he doesn't have such an ancient castle to store so many clones. She may have the key to unlock the truth behind the game Horror City, but she herself doesn't know it now. Some of her memories should have been cleansed by mysterious forces, just like the blank clones lying in the energy chamber. In this castle, we should be able to find clues about Horror City. Maybe this castle is part of Horror City? What's the matter with the monster you met? What does it look like? Can it attack with lightning? How much damage does one attack cause? Jin Ke temporarily gave up guessing Zhang Mengdai's identity and turned to another topic. It looks like a human, but its body is transparent, like water, a ball of water that can walk. It raises its hand and a lightning bolt comes over. One attack caused me more than 200 points of damage. I only have more than 800 points of armor when I put on my robe, and my health is only 80 points, so it killed me in a few hits. Zhang Mengdai answered Jin Ke. Have you hit it with a fireball? How much damage can your fireball cause to it? Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai again. -1 point, Zhang Mengdai said in a very ashamed tone. That is to say, it just broke through the defense. Jin Ke has played so many games. Of course he knows what the '1 point of damage value means. In the tour, Jin Ke's fireball can cause 50,000 damage to the opponent. However, Zhang Mengdai's fireball can only cause -1 damage to the humanoid water monster. This thing is very difficult to deal with. Isn't this game too difficult? There are only a few houses in the birthplace, and there are no hints. Fortunately, you found clues from the novel and finally opened the door. I want to continue playing, but there are no monsters outside the door to accumulate experience and level up, and I encounter a boss when I go out. How can I continue playing? Zhang Mengdai complained. Don't worry, I will find a way. Jin comforted Zhang Mengdai, but he kept complaining in his heart. Who made you have boss level attributes when you entered the game? A fireball of 50,000 damage, and explosive damage. Is it meaningful to arrange a bunch of monsters for you? Although he complained in his heart, Jin became more interested in this mysterious castle. You know, it was because he learned the fireball in the mysterious castle that he helped the King Moss Mountain base defeat the Menglongton base, thereby consolidating his position in the King Moss Mountain base and becoming a senior manager with voting rights in the base. If he could deal with the humanoid water monster, he should be able to get a lot of benefits. The fireball that Jin learned here is actually not very practical. The main reason is that it consumes too much mana, 10,000 points of mana. There is no instant charging device like the mysterious castle in the game world, and there is no fountain in the tour arena that can allow him to instantly restore mana and condense so many energy runes. Therefore, the fireball only helped him defeat the Menglongton base, and the practical significance is not very great. He must find a spell that is suitable for his current use, which does not need to be as powerful as the fireball, and does not consume so much mana. Didn't the humanoid water monster enter the room after killing you? Jin asked Zhang Mengdai carefully. The most important thing for attacking the boss is his own safety. Jin is not like Zhang Mengdai. If he dies, he dies. He can't take risks with his own life. Yes, it seems to be afraid of this room. It just stands a few meters away from the door, When it sees me, it launches lightning attacks at me, but refuses to enter the room. Zhang Mengdai answered Jin Ke, "How about this? You come to my room in 5 minutes, go to the door, and attract the humanoid water monster to the door. I'll see what's going on with it on your screen. Maybe I can find a way to deal with it." Jin Ke proposed to Zhang Mengdai. Okay, Zhang Mengdai agreed. In her opinion, this humanoid water monster can only be dealt with by Jin Ke. You know, it was Jin Ke who helped her deal with the door last time. After agreeing with Zhang Mengdai, Jin Ke exited the game cabin, returned to the bedroom in the real world, and then sat down in the reception hall outside. After a few minutes, Zhang Mengdai and Bo walked out of their room and came to the reception hall outside Jin Ke's bedroom. The reason why Bo He and Zhang Mengdai came together was, of course, because they were worried that Zhang Mengdai was simple-minded and would be taken advantage of by Jin Ke. Another point was that Jin Ke had free snacks to eat. Jin Ke used his mobile phone to control his character and hid in the basement. Then he looked at Zhang Mengdai's mobile phone screen and asked Zhang Mengdai to control her character to go to the hall above, walk to the control console and open the door. Zhang Mengdai's character came to the door and looked outside. Not long after, a transparent person, or a person made entirely of water, appeared in the heavy rain. The heavy rain poured down and hit this person without splashing any water. It felt like the raindrops directly entered the person's body. The transparent person did not walk very fast, and it could even be said to be relatively slow. It walked step by step to the door and stopped a few meters away from Zhang Mengdai. Then it raised its hand, and a bolt of lightning shot out from its hand, hitting Zhang Mengdai directly, knocking off more than 200 points of the energy field of Zhang Mengdai's robe armor. Zhang Mengdai quickly retreated a little deeper into the room. When she retreated to 5 meters deep in the room, the person outside stopped attacking her. After losing its target, the humanoid water monster turned around and staggered into the rainstorm again, and soon disappeared in the rain curtain formed by the rainstorm. "Did you see it clearly?" Zhang Mengdai asked Jin Ke. "I saw it clearly. I think I found a way to defeat it." Jin Ke nodded. Chapter 292 Humanoid Water Monster. How can I defeat it? Zhang Mengdai was very surprised. She had tried many times and even died several times, but she still couldn't find a way to defeat it. But Jin Ke only looked at this thing on her screen for a few times and said he had found a way to defeat it. Isn't this too magical? First, fill up your health, and then listen to my command. Okay. Zhang Mengdai quickly ran to the room on the right, filled up her health and energy, and returned to the middle hall. Jin Ke had also used his mobile phone to control his character from the basement back to the middle hall and stood in a safe place. After I say it later, you control your character to rush into the rainstorm outside. If I tell you to go left, you go left, and if I tell you to go right, you go right. Jin continued to command Zhang Mengdai. Okay. Zhang Mengdai nodded. Rush forward and rush to the wall at the other end of the yard in one breath. Jin turned on the detection plug-in, explored the situation outside, confirmed the position of the humanoid water monster, and then issued a command to Zhang Mengdai. Okay. Zhang Mengdai rushed into the rainstorm and rushed to the wall at the end of the opposite yard. Jin turned on the detection plug-in again and detected the situation outside. It can be confirmed that there is only the humanoid water monster in the yard, and it is not walking very fast. After it found Zhang Mengdai in the yard, it slowly approached the direction where Zhang Mengdai was. Run quickly to the left, and stop when I tell you to stop. Jin continued to command Zhang Mengdai. Okay. Zhang Mengdai ran to the left until Jin called her to stop, and then controlled the character to look around the rainstorm. The visual distance in the rainstorm is very short, especially when it is operated on a mobile phone screen, so it is impossible to know where the humanoid water monster is at this time. Turn left again and run forward. Stop immediately when I call you to stop. Jin continued to command Zhang Mengdai. Okay. Zhang Mengdai ran to the left, and she didn't stop until Jin called her to stop. At this time, she found that Jin was directing her to the fountain in the center of the courtyard. Nearly 1,000 tiny nozzles were arranged together, spraying thin water columns in all directions of the sky. After these thin water columns rushed up to a height of dozens of meters, they fell from the sky, forming this endless rainstorm. When Jin Ke saw that there was a water monster outside and it was raining heavily in the sky, he almost knew what was going on. People who play games a lot, what scenes have they not seen? The rainstorm is equivalent to the powerful healing buff of the humanoid water monster. No matter how powerful the fireball is, how can it defeat the water monster in the rainstorm? It's like Jin Ke standing in the fountain and shooting fireballs. The 5 elites of the opponent can't kill him. So, if you want to defeat it, you must first get rid of the powerful healing buff on it. How to get rid of it? Stop the rainstorm. Jin Ke had long discovered that the rainstorm outside the room was abnormal. Every time he came here, it kept raining. Just now, he found a huge fountain in the yard. With a little brain analysis, he could guess the source of the rainstorm. Is there a huge fountain in front of you? Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai. Yes. Look carefully around the fountain. There should be a mechanism or something like that. Jin Ke continued to direct Zhang Mengdai. Okay. Zhang Mengdai controlled the character to search around the fountain. Sure enough, on one side of the fountain, there was a winch with a diameter of about half a meter. After her character clicked the winch, the character's hands were placed on the winch, and then the fingers touched the winch and drew a counterclockwise circle, and the winch began to rotate. After the winch started to rotate, the water flow of the fountain became smaller, and the rainstorm in the sky became smaller. After another winch, the rainstorm became smaller again. Jin Ke's guess was not wrong, but his detection plugin soon detected that the humanoid water monster chased Zhang Mengdai again. Although it moved very slowly, in a few seconds, it would be within the effective range of its lightning attack on Zhang Mengdai. Put down the winch and run to your left. I tell you to stop and you stop again. Jin Ke issued a new order to Zhang Mengdai. Okay. Zhang Mengdai quickly controlled the character to release the winch and ran to the left according to Jin Ke's order. After Zhang Mengdai's character released the winch, the rainstorm in the sky that had eased became violent again. It was obvious that the winch would return to its original state as long as it was released when it was not pulled to the end or when no one was operating it. It seemed that this task was impossible for Zhang Mengdai to complete alone in the yard. Jin Ke once again turned on the detection plug-in, detected the position of the humanoid water monster, and issued an order to let Zhang Mengdai lead it to the corner of the yard, and then took it for a circle in the yard. Jin controlled his character to rush out of the gate and quickly ran to the fountain in the center of the yard. While detecting the position of Zhang Mengdai and the humanoid water monster, he issued instructions to Zhang Mengdai, asking her to continue to circle around the courtyard wall with the humanoid water monster. He quickly turned the winch of the fountain. 1 circle, 2 circles, 3 circles, 4 circles, 5 circles. After turning it more than 10 circles, no more water came out of the nozzle, and the rainstorm stopped completely. In the sky, there were 2 alloy columns about 7 or 8 meters apart. Every half a minute or so, an ultra-high voltage arc discharge occurred, which was the origin of lightning in the rainstorm. On the ground, the humanoid water monster was still slowly chasing Zhang Mengdai. Use fireballs to attack it. Jin Ke issued a new instruction to Zhang Mengdai. He tried it. Once he let go of the winch, the fountain would start again, and the rainstorm in the sky would appear again. The problem was with the winch. A metal brake rod on it was missing, and there was no way to break it. Okay. Dee cute. Zhang Mengdai immediately turned around and fired a fireball at the humanoid water monster. The fireball, which had always only caused -1 damage to the humanoid water monster, this time caused more than 1,000 damage at once. The size of the humanoid water monster was obviously reduced, and the color became lighter. After Zhang Mengdai ran forward a few steps, he turned around and fired another fireball at the humanoid water monster, knocking off more than 1,000 points of its health. Jin Ke had already detected that its health was more than 10,000 points with the health plug-in, so he asked Zhang Mengdai to continue attacking it. After Zhang Mengdai fired 11 fireballs, the humanoid water monster let out a strange whistle and fell to the ground, and there was also the sound of metal objects falling to the ground. What did it drop? Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai. Chapter 293 Nightmare Castle. A very strange metal rod, a key, and a piece of metal foil. Zhang Mengdai controlled the character to pick up the items dropped by the humanoid water monster. Give them all to me. Jin Ke said to Zhang Mengdai. Now he was also in mobile phone operation mode. It was very convenient to communicate with Zhang Mengdai when they were sitting together. Okay. Zhang Mengdai picked up the metal rod, key and metal foil and walked over to trade them to Jin Ke. The metal rod was indeed the brake rod of the winch. After Jin Ke installed it on the fountain winch, the winch no longer turned, and there would be no more rainstorm. Even the ultra-high voltage arc discharge of the alloy column in the sky, which occurred every half a minute, stopped, and on the metal foil, there were 3 runes engraved. Could it be ... the lightning spell? Jin Ke was ecstatic when he saw the 3 runes on the metal foil. According to his guess, the treasure knocked down from the humanoid water monster must be related to its common skills. I received a system prompt saying that I have completed the task of defeating the humanoid water monster and saved the Nightmare Castle. Now the merchants in the Nightmare Castle can start doing business again. Zhang Mengdai said a few words to Jin Ke. Nightmare Castle? This name seems to have a deep meaning. Could it be that some monsters that only exist in dreams will appear? Very good. The game can continue. Jin controlled the character to look around the courtyard. Sure enough, the several houses around the courtyard that were originally closed and without lights were now all lit up. The doors were opened, and various signs were lit up beside the doors. For example, the sign of a sword is undoubtedly a warrior weapon store. The sign of a staff is undoubtedly a wizard weapon store. The sign of a shield is undoubtedly a warrior armor store. The sign of a robe is undoubtedly a wizard armor store. The sign of a cake is undoubtedly a food store, and the sign of a bottle is undoubtedly a potion store. However, what Jin Ke is most interested in now are the 3 energy runes of lightning magic that burst out of the humanoid water monster. Jin Ke did not ask Zhang Mengdai to check in various stores for the time being, but called her back to the initial room. After closing the door, he entered the charging device in the right room and began to try to condense the 3 energy runes of the lightning spell. With the experience of condensing the 18 energy runes of the fireball spell, Jin Ke only took 20 minutes to successfully condense the 3 energy runes of the lightning spell. What surprised Jin Ke was that the strokes of these 3 energy runes were much simpler than those of the fireball spell. 300 energy points could condense 1. And the 3 energy runes only needed 900 energy points. Jin Ke's current energy point storage limit has reached 600 points. As long as he finds a few equipment or accessories that increase intelligence or willpower in the base, he should be able to increase the energy point storage limit to more than 900. As long as the energy point limit is more than 900, he can use this lightning spell in places other than the castle and the fountain. According to the damage caused by the fireball spell, which is about 5 times the energy points consumed, the damage of this lightning spell should be around 4,500. This level of single-shot output is similar to the output of C-level shooter Li Jing after he has orange weapon and orange armor. After Jin Ke learned the lightning spell, he also taught it to his apprentice Zhang Mengdai. Zhang Mengdai mastered it much faster than Jin Ke. After only 2 attempts, he could skillfully release the lightning spell. This is good. For the fireball spell, my full set of equipment is only enough to release 15 fireballs, but the lightning spell can be released more than 100 times. Zhang Mengdai was also very happy after learning the lightning spell. After learning the lightning spell, the two went out together, this time to check out several shops in the courtyard. On the way to the shop, Jin Ke's character suddenly saw something at the edge of his vision, and he quickly controlled the character to look over there. It's the courtyard gate. Outside the iron fence of the courtyard gate, there seemed to be a person in a white dress looking over the fence. Because it was operated on a mobile phone, the screen was small and looked blurry. If it was an immersive game cabin operation, Jin Ke estimated that he should be able to see clearly. When Jin Ke's character looked over there, the white dress quickly disappeared behind the courtyard wall. Hey, who is it? Jin Ke was about to rush over to take a look, but he stopped after taking 2 steps. It's better to be more careful in the Nightmare Castle. Curiosity kills the cat. Master, what did you see? Zhang Mengdai stopped. Nothing, I'm dazzled. Jin Ke frowned. It's better not to talk about things that he didn't see clearly for the time being. The first place they entered was a store with a longsword logo. After entering the door, Jin Ke and Zhang Mengdai came to a room. Opposite the room was an aisle, A large round table made of alloy blocked the aisle. This room should be a sales hall, and behind the aisle is the store's warehouse. There was a stool in front of the round table, and behind the table was a man in a black robe. When he saw someone coming in, he raised his head. Inside the robe was a thick black fog that covered everything. The owner's eyebrows, nose, and face were not visible at all. It was as if a black fog was sitting there in the robe. "This man looks so scary," Zhang Mingdai muttered. Fortunately, she was just playing games on her phone, so she just felt more scary. Besides, there were Jin Ke and Luo Ye by her side. Although she said it was scary, she didn't feel scared in her heart. Jin controlled the character to sit down on the stool in front of the round table. After he sat down, a virtual projection of a long sword automatically appeared on the round table. After seeing this long sword, Jin couldn't help but feel his heart pounding. This sword, surrounded by a faint black fog, was actually of black quality. This means that this sword, like Zhang Mingdai's staff and robe, is a mysterious black equipment. When equipped, it can be transformed into black runes with the mind and quickly condensed into the hand. Since the weapon shop sells black quality weapons, it is conceivable that the equipment shop must also sell black quality armor. He wears two different sets of armor for his two professions, and it is impossible to change clothes in actual combat. With this kind of black equipment, you can change clothes at any time as you wish, and you can also switch your profession at any time according to different situations in actual combat. The only problem now is that when Jin Ke teleported here, he couldn't bring anything with him. I don't know if he can bring the equipment he got from the Nightmare Castle back to the Moss Mountain base when he teleports back. Chapter 294 Robbery. The virtual projection above the round table can be pulled. After Jin Ke pulled it, the long sword turned into a short sword. After Jin Ke pulled it again, the short sword turned into a dagger. Jin Ke checked the properties of the dagger. The dagger has no name. It is called a dagger on the sales list. The attack power is 2.5, which is higher than the E-level orange dagger. However, it does not increase basic attributes, combat attributes, and has no additional skills. There are only 4 things like SD card slots on the handle of the dagger. It looks like some kind of chip can be inserted to increase its additional attributes. Jin continued to pull it. After the dagger, there was a short axe. After the short axe, there was a long spear. After the long spear, there was a long stick. And after the long stick, there was a bow and arrow. If you pull it again, it will become the long sword that was displayed by default at the beginning. These weapons have high and low attack powers, and high and low attack speeds. After the attack speed and attack power are combined, the output per unit time is similar. It looks like the most basic weapon in this Nightmare Castle. Jin Ke pulled out the dagger again. The price of this dagger is very cheap. Only 10 gold coins are needed. The problem is, it needs special gold coins. The price has a display of gold coins. The front of this kind of gold coin is engraved with a strange castle, and the back is engraved with several runes and some strange patterns that Jin Ke does not recognize. It seems that this is a kind of gold coin that is only popular here. Jin Ke and Zhang Mingdai do not have it on hand now. Without gold coins, all weapons can only be looked at and cannot be purchased. If you want to buy, you have to find a way to earn gold coins. There are generally 2 ways to earn gold coins in the game. One is to find an NPC to accept a task, and the other is to kill wild monsters to get gold coins. The owner here seems to have no tasks to accept. After Jin Ke and Zhang Mingdai came in, the black-robed owner has been sitting quietly across the round table, motionless and silent. For players who often play games, there is actually another way to earn gold coins, which is very violent and fast. That is the common robbery in the GTA series. Jin Ke didn't dare to try to attack the shop owner. He estimated that these black-robed people were not easy to mess with. If he attacked them and caused them to counterattack, he would probably be killed instantly. But Zhang Mingdai could. She had many lives anyway. Try to throw a fireball at him, Jin Ke said to Zhang Mingdai after retreating to the door of the store. The reason for retreating to the door of the store was that he was afraid that if she angered the shop owner, he could escape at any time. Not good. Zhang Mingdai felt that the black-robed man opposite was not easy to mess with. It doesn't matter, you have many lives. You won't die. Jin continued to instigate. Okay. Zhang Mengdai had no choice but to agree. She looked at the black-robed man opposite the round table and hesitated for a moment, and a ball of fire quickly condensed in front of her. Didi Mengmengda. A ball of fire flew towards the black-robed man. The black-robed man who had been sitting still stretched out his empty sleeves, and a palm formed by black mist instantly grabbed the ball of fire. Not good. Jin Ke escaped from the weapon store with a death charge. Then a muffled sound of bang was heard from the weapon store, and Zhang Mengdai turned into a corpse and lay inside. Hang up. Zhang Mengdai, holding the phone, turned around and looked at Jin Ke. Log in again. Jin completely gave up the idea of robbing the store. After Zhang Mengdai logged in again, she walked into the weapon store carefully. But the owner of the weapon store sat motionless behind the round table as if he didn't know her. Zhang Mengdai touched her horrible corpse that was blown up by the fireball with her fingers, and all the equipment on the corpse turned into strands of runes and flew to her body, instantly condensing into magic wands, robes and other items. Then Zhang Mengdai carried her corpse back to the basement of the house and put the severely damaged corpse into the energy cabin. Or the treatment cabin or something like that. The hatch of the energy cabin closed automatically, and the console showed that the energy cabin had started the treatment and repair work. Jin Ke operated his character and stood behind Zhang Mengdai's character, looking at the console in front of Zhang Mengdai. Only she can operate this thing. When Jin Ke's character touches it, a prompt of insufficient permission will pop up. Zhang Mengdai, who was operating the console on the mobile phone screen, suddenly turned her neck 180 degrees and looked at Jin Ke. Jin Ke's mobile phone screen was forced to lock her face, a face full of wrinkles, extremely old and haggard, moreover, full of resentment. Jin Ke, who was concentrating on the game, was caught off guard and startled. What's wrong? Zhang Mengdai beside him asked Jin Ke. Jin Ke looked at Zhang Mengdai, then looked at the mobile phone screen in front of him. Zhang Mengdai's character was still operating the console and did not turn around to look back at him. Where is Mint? Jin Ke looked around and did not notice when Mint disappeared. At this moment, a cold and pale hand suddenly rested on Jin Ke's shoulder. I'm here. What do you want to do? Mint's voice startled Jin Ke again. Ha 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 ha. Leader, why are you so pale? Are you scared by me? Bo laughed, then walked back to sit next to Zhang Mengdai. Jin Ke glared at Bo angrily. Suddenly he felt very dangerous. Zhang Mengdai's character appeared in the Nightmare Castle, and just now there was such a scene in the game. Could they be evil spirits in the real world, recruited by him randomly to his studio branch? You guys go back to your room. I'll take you out to hunt monsters later. Jin Ke proposed to Zhang Mengdai and Bo. Okay. Zhang Mengdai had wanted to go back to her room for a long time, lying on the bed and playing games. After hearing what Jin Ke said, she happily left with Bo and went back to her room. Xue'er was now being taken care of by Yuxioxi, so Jin Ke felt more at ease. He locked the door and asked the character to return to the charging device in the initial room to ensure his safety. Then he used his mobile phone to call up the energy cabin and re-entered the game. After Zhang Mengdai's previous attempts, Jin confirmed that these shopkeepers cannot be robbed. If they rob, they may be killed instantly. But the shopkeepers will not bear a grudge against Zhang Mengdai after she is resurrected. After resurrection, Zhang Mengdai can still sit at the round table normally to check the goods, and it should be possible to trade with the shopkeeper normally. Jin Ke remembered something. Just now, Zhang Mengdai suddenly became so old in front of the console, and her neck turned back 180 degrees to look at him, and she seemed very resentful. Is it because he caused her death once? It seems that the cute girl can't die casually in the game. Maybe after dying too many times, it will affect her real lifespan. The scene just now was a warning to him. Chapter 295 Lighting. Mengdai, do you still remember the studio rules that Xue'er told you when you first entered the studio? Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai after he walked out of the weapon shop. I remember part of it, Zhang Mengdai said with a guilty tone. There is a rule that if the character dies, even if the contract with the studio is automatically terminated, you will not get the daily salary. Your character has died several times. Jin Ke mentioned it to Zhang Mengdai. But the most recent time was when you killed me, Zhang Mengdai said in a panic. You are my apprentice, so I gave you a lot of special treatment. After you died, The studio would not pay you any more salary. I helped you to handle this matter. As a result, the studio deducted my daily salary. Every time you die, the studio will deduct more from me. When I can't bear it, I can only deduct your daily salary. Do you understand? Anyway, the meaning is that you must be extremely careful in the next game and can't die casually again. Jin Ke made up a bunch of lies to warn Zhang Mengdai. Okay, master, thank you for being so good to me. Zhang Mengdai quickly agreed. Although Jin Ke let her die once, she died on her own the previous times. Who made you my only disciple? I treat you as my own sister now, Jin Ke shamelessly replied to Zhang Mengdai. After deceiving his master and his disciple, Jin Ke's shamelessness increased again and reached LV5. After leaving the weapon shop, Jin Ke took Zhang Mengdai to check the equipment shop, mage weapon shop, mage equipment shop, pharmacy shop, and food shop in turn, and checked all the goods on sale. After seeing all kinds of meat, bread, and cakes in the food store, Jin Ke suddenly thought of a possibility. So he quickly returned to the house where Zhang Mengdai was born, came to the food storage cabinet in the left room, found a few loaves of bread, and then took these loaves back to the food store. This kind of bread sells for 2 copper coins in the food store. Jin Ke put a loaf of bread on the round table in front of him. The black-robed man opposite did not react at all. Jin Ke frowned, so he put another loaf of bread on the round table. Unexpectedly, the black-robed man opposite reacted. He reached under the round table and scooped up a copper coin on the table in front of him, then pried the table and the table automatically rotated. Jin Ke's 2 loaves of bread turned in front of the black-robed man, and the copper coin in the black-robed man's hand turned in front of Jin Ke. Food can be exchanged for copper coins. The recycling price of a loaf of bread worth 2 copper coins is only a quarter of the selling price. Some food in the food store is worth a few copper coins, some are worth dozens of copper coins, and some are worth a few silver coins. There should be a certain exchange ratio between copper coins, silver coins and gold coins. As long as you save up 10 gold coins, you can buy a black quality rune dagger. Jin Ke was very happy in his heart. He seemed to have found a way to earn gold coins. Jin Ke did not take the copper coins on the round table in front of him, but manipulated the character to pry the round table. The round table rotated again, turning Jin Ke's 2 loaves of bread back, and the copper coins returned to the store owner. As long as Jin Ke didn't take the goods, the transaction would not be considered final. Jin Ke put the 2 loaves of bread away, and the shopkeeper opposite took back the copper coins. Wait a minute. Zhang Mengdai put the 2 loaves of bread back on the round table in front of him. The shopkeeper opposite picked up the copper coins again and put them on the round table, then pried the table and the table automatically rotated. While the table was rotating, Zhang Mengdai quickly reached out and took back a loaf of bread. Unexpectedly, the black-robed man opposite also immediately reached out and pressed the rotation of the round table, turning the remaining loaf of bread back in front of Zhang Mengdai. The shopkeeper here is really smart. He won't take any loss. Zhang Mengdai wrinkled his nose while looking at the screen of his mobile phone. He originally thought that he could steal the bread in this way. Buyers are never as smart as sellers. Let's go and earn gold coins. Jin Ke smiled. Now, no matter what, he would first save enough money for a black rune dagger. After buying it, he would know whether he could bring the rune dagger back to the Moss Mountain base. Where are we going to fight? Zhang Mengdai asked Jin Ke. Didn't we get a key? There's a big yard outside, and there's an iron gate in the yard. This key should be used to open the gate. Jin Ke answered Zhang Mengdai, then quickly left the food store and returned to his previous birthplace room. Jin Ke took a kitchen knife from his birthplace room. Although it was better than nothing, it was still a weapon, and at least it could be used to dissect the bodies of wild monsters. He had previously used the detection plugin to explore the approximate distribution map of the yard and knew where the gate was. After walking over, there was indeed a locked gate. It was actually energy restricted, and skills were not allowed to pass through. Fortunately, the humanoid water monster exploded the key to the gate, otherwise there would be no way out now. When he inserted the key into the lock cylinder next to the gate, Jin Ke suddenly remembered the woman in a white dress outside the iron gate when he was operating his mobile phone before. Could it be a female ghost? Jin Ke, who was in the game world, felt a chill inexplicably. Master, What's wrong? Zhang Mengdai asked Jin Ke. Nothing. After Jin Ke turned the key, the gate slowly opened. It was raining outside the gate. It stopped raining after the fountain inside the gate stopped. So why was it still raining outside? Are the inside and outside of the gate two different worlds? Nightmare Castle, as the name suggests, is a castle that appears in nightmares, or a castle full of nightmares, which cannot be speculated by common sense. Since it is raining, there will be no humanoid water monsters, right? Jin Ke explored with the detection plug-in, and the results showed that there were no humanoid water monsters or wild monsters in the large open space outside the gate. Because the lights were on in the courtyard, you could see clearly no matter where you went. But outside the gate, because of the rain and the dark sky, it was almost pitch black and nothing could be seen. During the day, Jin Ke always had various things to do. He didn't want to give up exploring the Nightmare Castle, but it was a bit of a headache in such a dark place. He could only continue to explore if he found some props that could illuminate. I have a fairy wand. It can make me bigger, smaller and prettier, Zhang Mengdai suddenly shouted, and then raised her staff. The crystal ball on the top of the staff suddenly lit up, illuminating a large area nearby. What kind of magic is this? Jin Ke didn't expect Zhang Mengdai to solve the lighting problem so easily. The lighting skill of the staff will continue to consume energy points, but not much. Zhang Mengdai answered Jin Ke. It's really not much. Even if it's more, it's not much for 150,000. Jin Ke complained. Chapter 296. Boom. Master, what did you say? How about this? You explore the way ahead, and I'll protect you from behind. Although you have my protection, you still have to be careful. You might encounter hidden monsters. Jin Ke shamelessly said a few words to Zhang Mengdai behind him. Zhang Mengdai didn't respond. Did he get disconnected? Horror City doesn't seem to get disconnected, right? Jin Ke had to wait for a while. Hello, can you hear me? Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai again and pushed her. Zhang Mengdai turned around and looked at Jin Ke with a strange look. What are you doing? I'm talking to you. Jin Ke felt a chill inexplicably. Zhang Mengdai continued to look at Jin Ke with that strange look, without saying a word. Is the leader online? Zhang Mengdai suddenly asked Jin Ke. I've been online. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Jin Ke frowned, not knowing why Zhang Mengdai asked him that. Oh. You didn't respond to my words just now. I thought you were offline. I just took off my clothes quickly. Sorry. Zhang Mengdai explained to Jin Ke. Why did you take off your clothes? Jin Ke was confused. When did he not respond to her words? Why are things getting weirder and weirder? Unfortunately, during the non-recruitment period, the instructor can no longer check on the students. Otherwise Jin Ke must see what she and Bo He are doing in the room. Don't you take off your clothes when you sit on the bed to play games? Zhang Mengdai said in a strange tone. You explore the way in front, and I will protect you from behind. Although you have my protection, you still have to be careful. You may encounter hidden monsters. Jin Ke changed the subject and repeated the previous instructions to Zhang Mengdai. Okay. Zhang Mengdai held up the staff and lit it, and controlled her character to walk out of the yard, slowly exploring around in front. Jin Ke followed her, fully alert, and from time to time turned on the detection plug-in to detect the surroundings. The attack power of the humanoid water monster encountered in the courtyard before was extremely high. If Jin Ke was attacked, he would be killed instantly. He was not like Zhang Mengdai, who could be resurrected. It would be troublesome if he died here. A few dozen meters ahead, a very tall castle appeared. In the dark rainy night, it was like a ghost castle, which felt quite scary. Is this the Nightmare Castle? The previous courtyard was just a few ordinary houses. It seems it is necessary to explore the Nightmare Castle. Maybe you can find a lot of treasures, or even find clues to the truth behind the game Horror City. When the two were walking carefully towards the Nightmare Castle, there was a sudden roar on the side of the road, which caught Jin Ke off guard again. He quickly pulled Zhang Mengdai back a few steps to the side. At the place where the bang came from, a multi-headed python-like monster emerged from the ground. It had dozens of heads, and the body under each head was as thick as a human thigh. After drilling out from the roadside, dozens of heads immediately hissed and attacked Zhang Mengdai and Jin Ke. If you look closely, the multi-headed python is not a snake head at all, but a human head. The eyes of these human heads are pitch black, but they spit out something like a snake tongue from their mouths, making a hissing roar. Zhang Mengdai in front of the mobile phone screen didn't feel anything, but Jin Ke, who was immersing in the game cabin, felt it was a bit creepy. In addition, his detection plugin didn't detect this thing at all just now, but it appeared next to him and Zhang Mengdai out of thin air. Not only did their human-like heads look a bit creepy, but the fish when they spit out of their mouths also made people feel like vomiting after smelling it. It was very uncomfortable, just like having a nightmare. Hurry up and attack it with lightning and fireballs, Jin Ke ordered Zhang Mengdai. He was now unarmed, unable to fire fireballs or lightning, and even unable to use the assassin's attack skills. Therefore, he could only rely on Zhang Mengdai. Didi is great. Zhang Mengdai quickly stepped back a few steps, pulling away from the multi-headed python, and then as she stepped back, a lightning bolt shot out from the staff in her hand, burning the multi-headed python in front of her, and shot off one of its heads. Dozens of multi-headed python heads screamed together and chased Zhang Mengdai. Didi is cute. Zhang Mengdai rubbed the fireballs while retreating, and soon a fireball took shape and smashed towards the multi-headed python. Bang! The fireball exploded with a muffled sound, and the multi-headed python was seriously injured, and the momentum of pursuit also stopped. 3 seconds later, another fireball was fired. After 3 fireballs, the multi-headed python fell to the ground with a thump. Jin Ke smelled the aroma of barbecue. Fortunately, there was the fireball technique of the cute girl. Otherwise, Jin Ke estimated that this multi-headed python would be very difficult to deal with. After killing the multi-headed python, Jin Ke of course went forward to touch the corpse. No, dissect the corpse. The LV4 dissection technique was just enough. After a busy period, Jin Ke got a lot of python meat. About 20 pieces. There was nothing else. The dissection skill was upgraded to LV5. Do you have any storage treasures? Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai. No. Zhang Mengdai shook his head after checking. There was no other way. Jin Ke had to grab a piece in each hand, carrying 2 large pieces of python meat back to the previous courtyard, and went straight to the food store. After entering the food store, Jin Ke put 2 pieces of python meat on the round table. The black-robed man opposite seemed to glance over here, and then slowly grabbed 2 copper coins from under the round table and put them on the table in front of him. No way, 2 pieces of meat this big, each weighing 20 jin, for only 2 copper coins? Jin Ke expressed his dissatisfaction, so he did not trade with the food store owner, and went to the pharmacy. As a result, the pharmacy owner refused to accept this thing. The owners of the weapons store and equipment store also refused to accept it. There was no choice but to sell it to the food store owner, otherwise, it would rot in his hands. 10 minutes later, Jin Ke threw all the more than 20 pieces of python meat he dissected to the food store owner, and had 23 more copper coins in his hand. Back to Zhang Mengdai outside, the two continued to move forward cautiously in the direction of the Nightmare Castle. It seemed that there was only this multi-headed python outside the courtyard, or the other multi-headed pythons were not on their route. Anyway, when the two came to the Nightmare Castle together, they did not encounter any attacks from the multi-headed pythons. Zhang Mengdai held up his staff, illuminating the outer wall of the Nightmare Castle. There were all kinds of monsters carved on the outer wall, each of which looked extremely hideous, like monsters that would only appear in nightmares. If you looked closely at them, they all seemed to be moving, ready to pounce from the outer wall at any moment. Chapter 297 Depression. Unfortunately, the heavy alloy door of the Nightmare Castle was closed, and with the addition of energy restrictions, Jin could not use his skills to go through the wall. The heavy alloy door did not have a keyhole or anything like that, but there seemed to be a circular sculpture missing in the center. It seemed that he needed to find this circular sculpture to open the door of the Nightmare Castle. Judging from the tall building of the Nightmare Castle, the heavy alloy door, and the energy restriction protection, Jin estimated that it must be filled with various treasures, and even more gold foil with spell runes. So, he had to find a way to go in and explore anyway. If Jin was the only one here, he would definitely not dare to venture into the Nightmare Castle. After all, he had no weapons now, and he might not even be able to deal with the monsters with his bare hands. But with a powerful mage like Zhang Mengdai by his side, And he was immortal. He had nothing to worry about. Although Zhang Mengdai is immortal, Jin Ke will still be careful not to let her die again. That old and haggard face full of resentment must represent some bad meaning. Where is the missing circular sculpture in the middle of the alloy door hidden? Of course, we can only find out by looking around. Jin Ke turned on the detection plug-in and found that there was a depression a few dozen meters away on the left. Otherwise, let's go to the depression first. Generally speaking, props in the game will be hidden in some places that look more characteristic. Zhang Mengdai held a staff in front to illuminate, and Jin Ke followed behind. The two carefully approached the depression. The depression covers a large area, with a drop of 30 meters from the ground. The ground of the depression is covered with deep weeds. Not far away, there is a stone staircase about 2 meters wide leading to the bottom of the depression. The two walked over and went down step by step along the stone stairs. For some reason, Jin Ke always felt that this depression was a bit strange, mainly because the vision in front of him seemed to be filled with some tiny black dots, filling the entire depression space. Jin Ke, who was immersing in the game cabin, felt more and more like he was dreaming. The two of them followed the stone steps and soon came to the bottom of the depression. Looking at the weeds more than one person deep at the bottom of the depression, Jin Ke was a little helpless. It would not be easy to find the lost circular sculpture in this way. By the way, isn't there a treasure hunting plug-in? Why didn't it turn on automatically? The treasure hunting plug-in was not turned on, so Jin Ke could only use the detection plug-in to detect the surroundings. The plug-in detected a gray image filled with many black dots, which seemed to be interfered with by some kind of interference. When detecting again, the plug-in suddenly stopped responding. There is indeed something wrong with this depression. However, we can't just give up exploring. In the weeds more than one person deep, it is difficult to find the circular sculpture without relying on the plug-in. What's more terrifying is that we don't know what kind of unknown monsters there are in this depression. What if it's a monster with high attack power, and it suddenly appears and attacks? Jin Ke, who has no equipment, will definitely be killed instantly. But Jin Ke was a little unwilling to give up the exploration of the Nightmare Castle. The appearance of Zhang Mengdai in this Nightmare Castle area seemed to hide many secrets, and also gave Jin Ke the opportunity to quickly improve his strength in a short period of time. He couldn't give up because of this little difficulty, right? Where would the circular sculpture be hidden? Jin Ke walked back to the ground along the stone stairs, and then observed the depression with his naked eyes. There seemed to be a cave on the stone wall in a certain direction of the depression. The light was too dim to see clearly. Send a fireball in that direction. Jin Ke pointed to the direction where the cave might be and said to Zhang Mengdai beside him, "Okay." Zhang Mengdai muttered something, condensed a fireball and fired it at the direction specified by Jin Ke. The explosion after the fireball landed illuminated the area in an instant. Sure enough, Jin Ke's judgment was correct. There was indeed a cave there. However, the moment the fireball illuminated the area, Jin Ke seemed to see the woman in the white dress again. She was standing near the cave, and seemed to be looking in the direction of Jin Ke and Zhang Mengdai. Everything was getting weirder and weirder. Forget it. It was more important to get down to business and find the round sculpture. Now the things that were unclear were put aside for the time being. Players who often play games know that such props that need to pass the level are often hidden in places like caves. So, going to the cave is definitely right. Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai to go back, and after filling up the energy, he returned here, and then took her down the stone steps to the depression again. Zhang Mengdai was in front, and Jin Ke was behind. The two entered the weeds, one deep step, one shallow step, and walked carefully towards the direction of the cave. When walking in the weeds, Jin Ke really felt like playing a desperate game. The monsters here are very powerful. If you are attacked, you will definitely be killed instantly. The environment is also very strange, making people feel cold at any time. What secrets are hidden in Zhang Mengdai's birthplace? Jin guessed that he could only know it after entering the Nightmare Castle. Just as the two were walking, Jin suddenly felt that something was wrong. The ground was shaking. Then, there was a dull sound of animal hooves. In a flash, the sound of animal hooves came to the two people. At the same time, it brought the unique fishy wind when the beast was running wildly. Jin rushed forward and pushed Zhang Mengdai to the side. At the same time, he teleported to the side with a death charge, narrowly avoiding a head-on collision with a ferocious beast. The ferocious beast ran wildly without hitting anyone, howled and stopped its four hooves, turned around and locked the target again, Jin Ke, and then rushed towards him again. This ferocious beast looks like a large rhino with a sharp horn on its head, but it looks much more flexible than a rhino. Hurry up and fireball, Jin Ke shouted to Zhang Mengdai. Didi. Cute. Zhang Mengdai had already reacted. He had already prepared a fireball by his side. When he saw the figure of the fierce rhino, he immediately launched a lock attack. Bang! With a muffled sound, the fireball hit the side of the fierce rhino and exploded, making it stagger and deviate from the direction of its forward charge. Jin Ke barely avoided its attack and ran to Zhang Mengdai. Jin Ke's health plug-in was also invalid. He could not observe how high the health of the fierce rhino was, but the fireball just now obviously did not kill it, and it did not even knock it to the ground. It just staggered and stabilized its body again, and then rushed towards Zhang Mengdai, who attacked it. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298 Thrilling. Didi. Cute. Zhang Mengdai threw another fireball, which hit the fierce rhino head-on. The huge explosive power of the fireball still did not blow it up, but only slightly slowed down its speed. The two of them took this opportunity to dodge to the side. It seems that the fierce rhino has only one way of attack, that is, a rapid collision. After figuring out its attack method, there is nothing to be afraid of, as long as the two of them dodge its collision in time. Zhang Mengdai can hit it with a fireball. Although the fierce rhino looks very fierce, after Zhang Mengdai's seventh fireball hit it, it finally fell to the ground due to serious injuries. Gasping for breath, Jin Ke did not dare to neglect it, and asked Zhang Mengdai to throw another fireball at it, completely blowing the fierce rhino to death. Jin Ke then walked over and began to dissect the fierce rhino with a kitchen knife. It took 8 fireballs to kill the rhino. Jin Ke originally thought that he could dissect out valuable things like rhino horns or bones, or energy cores, but he didn't expect that after the dissection, the system prompts that there are only 5 piles of rhino meat. Jin Ke carried a pile of rhino meat weighing dozens of kilograms, took a rhino horn, and walked back to the ground with Zhang Mengdai. After returning to the courtyard, Jin Ke went straight to the food store and traded the rhino meat weighing dozens of kilograms to the store owner. About 40 to 50 kilograms of rhino meat were only exchanged for 13 copper coins. It's really hard to make money in this nightmare castle world. The owner of the food store didn't accept rhino horns, so Jin Ke tried his luck at the pharmacy, but the pharmacy didn't accept it either. Other stores didn't accept it either. It seems that this thing can't be sold for money, and can only be placed in the room of Zhang Mengdai's birthplace as a decoration. 5 piles of rhino meat were exchanged for a total of 61 copper coins. Now Jin Ke has 84 copper coins. I don't know what the exchange rate is for copper coins, silver coins, or gold coins, and I don't know when I can save enough gold coins to exchange for the black dagger. Jin Ke took the 84 copper coins to the weapon shop, called up the virtual image of the black dagger, put the 84 copper coins on the table, and then glanced at the shop owner across from him. The shop owner shook his head. It seemed that his math was definitely not taught by the physical education teacher. 84 copper coins are worth 10 gold coins? Are you kidding me? Kid across from me? Jin Ke was just trying it out. Seeing that the shop owner didn't seem to be able to make a deal, he left the shop and returned to the depression where he had hunted the fierce rhino before and met up with Zhang Mengdai. The two continued to walk towards the cave in the depression. Not long after, they encountered another fierce rhino. With previous combat experience, Zhang Mengdai easily killed it with a fireball. Jin Ke carried the fierce rhino meat back to the food store in the yard and exchanged it for 74 copper coins this time. With 158 copper coins in hand, Jin Ke went into the weapon shop again. The product interface was switched to the black dagger. After placing the 158 copper coins on the round table, the shop owner actually reacted. He reached under the table and fished out a bunch of things and placed them on the round table. and then turned the round table half a circle. It was a silver coin and 58 copper coins. "Do you think I'm here to exchange money?" Jin Ke rolled his eyes and put away the silver coin and 58 copper coins. Now he finally knew the exchange rate between copper coins and silver coins, 100 to 1. If the exchange rate between silver coins and gold coins is also 100 to 1, he has to earn 100,000 copper coins to exchange for the black dagger. This task is quite difficult. If the black dagger cannot be taken from here to the Moss Mountain base, this trip will be in vain. But if he doesn't try, he will definitely not feel at ease. If he succeeds, Jin Ke also wants to buy another black staff. The damage of black equipment is higher than that of orange equipment, and the 4 slots also give people a lot of room for imagination. In addition, there is no need to hold a dagger in one hand and a staff in the other hand in the future. Switching professions instantly and switching weapons and equipment instantly is the ultimate secret of multiple souls. Of course, you should also get a full set of assassin black leather armor and mage black robes. When you park with people in the wild, you can switch professions at any time and catch the opponent off guard. The two continued to move forward. On the way to the cave, Zhang Mengdai hunted 2 more fierce rhinos, which increased the number of Jin Ke's copper coins by another 133. Now Jin Ke's property has 2 silver coins and 91 copper coins. Finally, the two came to the destination of this trip, the cave in the depression. When looking down from above, it seemed that the cave was very small. When you approached, you found that the cave was very large, at least more than 10 meters high and more than 10 meters wide. Jin Ke looked around, but did not see the woman in the white dress. "Didi, cute." Zhang Mengdai threw a fireball in to illuminate the cave. "Don't." Jin Ke wanted to stop her, but it was too late. After the fireball hit the cave, it flew straight into the cave for more than 100 meters before reaching the end. The light of the explosion also illuminated the end of the cave. A giant ferocious rhino that was 7 or 8 meters tall and more than 10 meters long was sleeping. It was hit in the ass by Zhang Mengdai's fireball. It woke up immediately and jumped up like thunder. After a howl, it turned around and looked in the direction of the cave entrance. After its 4 hooves were tightened on the ground, it roared and ran out of the cave. The weight of this giant ferocious rhino was at least several tons. The 4 hooves stepped on the ground, making the whole depression tremble. Jin Ke hurriedly pulled Zhang Mengdai and ran to the side of the cave entrance. As soon as the two ran away from the cave entrance, a gust of fishy wind whistled past them. The giant fierce rhino rushed out of the cave at high speed, and the whirlwind almost took the two away. "Run!" Jin Ke pulled Zhang Mengdai and ran to the stone stairs on the ground above the depression. The giant fierce rhino did not attack the two, and immediately turned around and rushed towards the two again. Jin Ke hurriedly pulled Zhang Mengdai and changed direction to run. The giant fierce rhino's huge body almost brushed past them. After letting the giant fierce rhino pass, the two continued to run to the stone stairs on the depression. The giant fierce rhino adjusted its direction and rushed towards the two again. After several repetitions, the two finally arrived at the stone stairs without danger and ran up along the stone stairs. After running for a while, Jin Ke turned around and grabbed Zhang Mengdai, who was still running up. "It won't chase us anymore. There must be some restriction preventing it from leaving the depression," Jin Ke said to Zhang Mengdai. "Oh, that's good. It was really thrilling just now. This game is getting more and more fun," Zhang Mengdai said excitedly. "Thrilling?" Jin curled his lips. "What thrilling thing is there on the phone screen? When you play immersive games, you will know what real thrills are." Chapter 299 A Gold Coin. Now Jin Ke is less and less willing to play this game on his phone. Most of the time, he is operating in immersion mode. He feels that he is less and less like a person in the real world, and more like a person living in a game world. Just as the two characters were standing on the stone stairs and panting, the giant fierce rhino turned around again and rushed to the stone stairs. "Didn't you say it wouldn't go up?" Zhang Mengdai said in a dazed tone. "I sometimes make mistakes." Jin Ke looked around. It was obvious that they had nowhere to hide. He had no choice but to pull Zhang Mengdai to the side of the stone stairs. He turned over and hung one hand on the side of the stone stairs. The other hand grabbed Zhang Mengdai's wrist and barely avoided the fierce impact of the giant fierce rhino. After the giant fierce rhino rushed over, Jin Ke swung his hand hard and threw Zhang Mengdai's body back to the stone stairs below. He also turned back to the stone stairs. "How did you do it?" Zhang Mengdai was quite surprised by Jin Ke's action just now. How could such a complicated action be performed on a mobile phone? At this moment, the giant rhino turned around again, and after coming to the side of the stone steps, it rushed towards the two people on the stone steps with its 4 hooves. Jin Ke hurriedly pulled Zhang Mengdai and pressed his body against the mountain wall next to the stone steps. The direction of the giant rhino's collision was a little off this time, and its huge body rushed directly down from the 7 or 8 meter high stone steps, and fell heavily on the grass surface of the depression below. This thing is really thick and tough, and it didn't seem to be injured at all after falling down. It immediately turned its body and rushed towards the stone steps again. "Run!" Jin Ke pulled Zhang Mengdai and ran for a while, and fled to the ground above. The giant rhino chased after them relentlessly. "You use fireballs to attack it, lead it away, and try not to be attacked by it. I'll go to its cave to look for clues." Jin Ke quickly told Zhang Mengdai a few words. "Okay." Zhang Mengdai threw a fireball at the giant rhino and ran away. After the giant rhino was attacked, it chased Zhang Mengdai. Jin Ke ran down the stone steps to the depression below. With Zhang Mengdai, the cannon fodder and the super output, Jin Ke felt very safe when he was exploring the way ahead. Now that he was alone in the depression, he suddenly became nervous. He was not like Zhang Mengdai, who had countless lives to live again. As long as he died, it would be over. Therefore, when he explored alone in this nightmare castle world, he must be extremely careful. Along the way, Jin Ke did not encounter other rhinos. It seemed that they were killed by Zhang Mengdai with fireballs. Jin Ke followed the edge of the overgrown stone wall without encountering any obstacles and soon came to the cave. The light in the nightmare castle world was originally very dark, and the light in the stone cave was even darker. Jin Ke adapted for a while before he could barely see a small area in front of him. Fortunately, this is the immersive operation mode of the game cabin. If it was on the mobile phone screen, it would be no different from a black screen. Jin Ke estimated that his vision in the game world was also enhanced, so he could barely see a small area in front of him. Otherwise, he would not be able to see anything when he came here in the real world. The detection plugin did not respond at all. At present, he could only rely on vision to detect everything around him, including potential dangers. The surroundings were extremely quiet. Jin Ke could only hear his footsteps, breathing and heartbeat. At a certain moment, he felt as if someone was looking at him from behind. Jin Ke turned around subconsciously and saw only a white shadow disappearing into the darkness behind him. "Who are you? What do you want to do?" Jin Ke shouted at the white shadow. "Is it the woman in the white dress?" There was no response. It seemed that the white shadow either had no attack power, or Jin Ke had not completely fallen into the trap she set, so she was not ready to attack. There was no way to control her for the time being. Jin Ke walked into the cave step by step and carefully. The whole cave was filled with a unique stench of wild animal feces, which made Jin Ke feel dizzy. Fortunately, there was no poisoning debuff on his head. All the way, Jin Ke carefully searched everything in the cave, trying not to miss anything, and then walked to the end of the cave, which was where the giant rhino rested. It was a smelly place similar to a pigsty. Jin Ke began to search carefully. In order to find the round sculpture, Jin Ke did not even let go of the feces of the giant rhino. The round sculpture should be a metal object. Jin Ke stepped on the feces of the giant rhino to confirm that there was no hard object hidden inside. After a careful search, Jin Ke found nothing. He stood in the pile of feces of the giant rhino and was so angry that he wanted to curse. In order to improve his strength, he was really fighting hard. Just when Jin Ke was about to leave, he found that something seemed to be stuck to his heel. He bent down and took a closer look, and found that it was actually a gold coin. The front is engraved with Nightmare Castle, and the back is engraved with some runes and strange patterns. It is indeed a special gold coin that can be used in the store. There are gold coins in the feces of the giant fierce rhino. If you find 10, you can exchange them for a dagger. Jin Ke immediately continued the inhumane search. A quarter of an hour later, Jin Ke decided to give up. This is really a torture that no human can endure. With the stench of feces all over his body, Jin Ke prepared to leave the cave and go upstairs to meet Zhang Mengdai. Just after taking a few steps, he felt something was wrong. In front of him, there was really a pair of eyes staring at him. Damn, it's a fierce rhino. Fortunately, it's an ordinary fierce rhino. After the fierce rhino saw Jin Ke, it immediately howled and rushed towards Jin Ke. Is this all you can do? Jin Ke dodged its impact and then ran out of the cave. The fierce rhino didn't hit Jin Ke, and immediately chased Jin Ke after turning around. When Jin Ke looked back and saw that the fierce rhino was about to hit him, he moved aside to avoid the hit. While running and dodging, Jin Ke soon escaped from the cave, and then escaped from the depression along the stone steps. The fierce rhino did not catch up, but disappeared in the grass in the depression. It seems that ordinary fierce rhinos are not as fierce as giant fierce rhinos, and will not chase people relentlessly. Or maybe Jin Ke ran too fast and escaped from its hatred range. I don't know what's going on with Zhang Mengdai. Let's go and take a look. After searching around, Jin Ke soon found out where Zhang Mengdai was hiding. She hid back in the room where she was born. The giant fierce rhino followed her into the courtyard with the fountain, and was madly hitting the door of Zhang Mengdai's birthplace again and again. Chapter 300 Thinking about Life. The door of the room was narrow, and there was an energy restriction on the wall next to the door. The giant rhino was too big to enter the room. Zhang Mengdai hid in the room and kept throwing fireballs at it from the door, which made the giant rhino very manic. It kept trying to rush into the room and kill Zhang Mengdai, but unfortunately it failed. This is a good way to beat the boss. When Jin Ke played games before, he often used the terrain to block the boss like this. Generally speaking, after players find a terrain that can be used to block the boss, the game company will think it is a bug, and then fix it in the new version to prevent players from defeating the boss so easily. I never thought that this horror city game also has a place to block the boss. After the previous humanoid water monster was killed, it exploded with lightning magic gold foil, a key, and a metal wrench. If this giant rhino is killed, it must be able to explode more useful things. After returning to the courtyard, Jin Ke's plug-in could be used again. He detected the health of the giant fierce rhino. After seeing the health of the giant fierce rhino, he almost fainted on the spot. The health value is close to 5 million. It is estimated that its original health is 5 million, and Zhang Mengdai's fireball has knocked away a part of it, so it is not full 5 million. Zhang Mengdai's fireball attacks the giant fierce rhino, and each time it attacks the giant fierce rhino, it can knock away about 2,000 points of its health. Jin came to the side of the giant fierce rhino. When the giant fierce rhino found him and was about to turn around to attack him, a death assault passed through the front half of the giant fierce rhino's body, and it accurately escaped back to the door of the hall of Zhang Mengdai's birthplace, and then rushed into the room. I lured it here, but I couldn't kill it. Zhang Mengdai explained to Jin Ke after seeing him. I'll help you fight. Jin Ke walked to the charging device in the room on the right, quickly condensed a fireball, ran to the door and threw it at the giant fierce rhino outside the door. Unexpectedly, only about 500 damage was dealt at a time. The output of the master was only 1/4 of that of the apprentice. Master is so amazing. Without any equipment, and being an assassin, he can actually deal such high spell damage. Zhang Mengdai praised a few words. Are you sure you are not mocking me? Jin Ke was deeply suspicious of Zhang Mengdai's motives. No, how could I mock the master? I was comforting you. Zhang Mengdai quickly explained a few words. Comfort what? You might as well mock me. Master, did you find anything? Zhang Mengdai changed the subject. I only found a gold coin, nothing else. Jin Ke was very depressed. I received a system prompt. Zhang Mengdai said to Jin Ke while controlling the character to rub the fireball. What prompt? Jin Ke's eyes lit up. It said, you have a strong smell of feces. Zhang Mengdai read it out. Damn, it doesn't matter, I won't dislike you, anyway, I can't smell it. Zhang Mengdai laughed. Next, it was extremely boring to roll fireballs, throw fireballs, charge, and then continue to roll fireballs and throw fireballs. The health of the giant fierce rhino dropped little by little, and looking at the long list of values was really despairing. Fortunately, Jin Ke's plug-in could be activated after leaving the depression. For this kind of repetitive work, the plug-in is the most suitable. Master, I'm sleepy. Can I get off work? An hour later, Zhang Mengdai asked Jin Ke, you should go offline and rest. Jin Ke looked at the time. It was midnight. Of course, he approved Zhang Mengdai's request to go off work. Okay, come to accompany master tomorrow. Zhang Mengdai seemed very happy. Your job is to play games, not to accompany master. Master is helping you to conquer the game. Jin corrected Zhang Mengdai. Okay, then I'll go offline. Zhang Mengdai operated her character and lay down on the sofa next to her. After Zhang Mengdai went offline, Jin continued to hang up and kill the giant fierce rhino. I don't know if there will be any useful items after killing this thing. If it only drops a bunch of fierce rhino meat, Jin will really curse. Based on the current output efficiency, Jin estimated that it would take at least until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning to kill this giant fierce rhino. However, if Zhang Mengdai wakes up tomorrow morning and helps him output, it may be done by 9 o'clock in the morning. I hope I won't be too disappointed then. When the plug-in was hanging up, Jin Ke did not exit the game cabin. He just stopped all his actions and let the plug-in control his body to rub and throw fireballs. Jin Ke's body movements stopped, but his thoughts did not stop. He was thinking about life. In fact, it was about what he should do next. He must participate in the Rookie King competition of the Green Plains shelter, mainly to win the Rookie King reward. Jin Ke believes that he has the ability to win the Rookie King of the assassin profession, but he also wants to get the Rookie King of the mage profession. In this way, he can get double the reward. When talking about this with Fan Wenji during the day, Jin Ke pretended to ask Fan Wenji a few questions. From what Fan Wenji said, among the newcomers in the entire Green Plains shelter, not many people switched to the magician profession. For professions like assassins, there are almost 100 people competing for the Rookie King. For the Rookie King of the magician profession, there are probably only a dozen people, or even only a few people competing. As long as you participate, you can get the prize. It's a waste not to take this prize. However, registration is a problem. From the registration information provided by Fan Wenji, the rules are clearly written, and one person can only register for one item. 3 o'clock in the night, Jin Ke suddenly woke up from his sleep and found that he was standing in a daze at the birthplace of Zhang Mengdai. Hey, I forgot to exit the game cabin last night. I fell asleep on the character. Jin Ke can also hang up when using the game cabin operation mode. After hanging up, his body is no longer controlled by him, but completely handed over to the control of the plug-in. He is like a bystander attached to the character, following the character and doing repetitive actions. At first, Jin Ke felt dizzy and uncomfortable, but later he gradually adapted, especially when he was crazy about rubbing fireballs a few days ago. Jin Ke often hung up in the game cabin mode. Unexpectedly, I fell asleep while hanging up yesterday because of thinking about life. By the way, where is the giant fierce rhino? Jin Ke suddenly remembered this very important thing. There was nothing outside the door, and it was very quiet around. After working hard for several hours, the giant fierce rhino actually ran away. All the previous efforts were in vain. Soon Jin Ke discovered another problem. That is, Zhang Mengdai, who was lying on the sofa before logging off, disappeared. She must have come online again later. I don't know what she did to lure the giant rhino away. Jin Ke speculated. He must ask her about this matter clearly. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.